Nothing is left undone. Greetings, folks. Another day at the office, huh? I'm taking my position in my Ouroboros, my loop of all loopers. Brian O'Shea. Greetings, Brian O'Shea. It's good to see you here, sir.
Thanks for having me, brother.
You're in the loop with me, and so is Penile Power. How are you, Penile Power?
Blessed as always, sir. Good to see you.
Right. Today was a day of some tests and challenges. I had to move a whole house and then call some other movers, and then we got into it, and they came, and I said, "What are they doing out there?" I looked outside, and they were driving away. So I called the guy at the place, and he proceeded to tell me they don't feel comfortable moving and working here. This is my life. This is just regular. This is what goes on regularly, and this is one example. He doesn't feel comfortable at the house. I go, "Why is that?" Right? And I have to dig it out of him. He says, "Well, they say someone's in the back smoking fentanyl." I go, "Okay." I go, "I'm smoking cannabis. Pretty sure it's legal and lawful. I'm not out here smoking fentanyl." So is there a reason why a guy with tattoos on his face would be uncomfortable moving here because he says I'm smoking fentanyl? Then we go back and forth. I go, "You're incompetent, right? And incapable. You send a crew out, you waste the gas money, you let them drive away, and you never have them speak to me directly, or you never speak to me directly. So you're wasting your money and all of our time. And indirectly, you're wasting my value. And then making false claims like people are out here smoking fentanyl. I'm pretty sure if you smoke fentanyl, you die." I don't know. And then you have to wonder how the mover knows what fentanyl smells like. Basically, all he did was admit that he smokes fentanyl, and he's projecting that onto me. Right? So then the guy started threatening me over the phone. "Come down here, tough guy, blah, blah, blah." Right? Now I'm doing a snafu, blah, blah, blah. And I got to tell you, it's a good thing. This is where I go the other way, right? Let me get out of my loop. This is where I go the other way and say that police and jails are a good thing. Because after a certain point, it causes me to always stop and think about what I'm going to do next to avoid going there, right? Right? Like anything I don't have to do to defend myself, or when it comes to rights and freedoms, I stop and think and go, should I go down there right now and gamble with this guy and teach him a lesson about threatening people over the phone? And I go, no, don't do that, because you're successful and you're going to be more successful, and you have a lot to do here and share. And this guy's obviously another loser, failure, incompetent, who instead of doing the proper service or having the proper communications, decides that he's going to justify what they did and then threaten me and tell me to come on down there. See, there was a time when you told somebody on the phone, "Come on down here," they show up, and not on your terms. They show up and wait outside. And when you're walking to your car, la-di-da-di-da, 7 hours later, they just hit you with something from behind. And that's that. You don't know who did it. You don't know what happened. But again, those days are over. It's better off. There's cameras everywhere. And you're going to prison if you go and deal with a fucking loudmouth who's going to threaten you over a phone. So it's great. It causes me to stop and think, say, what is my next move going to be that's going to be beneficial to me and everyone in my life? And what am I not going to do that's going to be detrimental and wind me up in trouble? So I decided I'm just going to let that be. Right? I'm not going to go down there. I don't need to see him. We're going to get the money back. He said the money's on the way back. And I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Right? I'm not that guy, and I don't need to be. Right? The God's going to deal with that cretin, and someone else who has nothing to lose at some point is going to deal with him. So here's what I will say. You know what? I'm going to, should I do it today or tomorrow? Because I want to get into the company name, and I want to put it out there, and I want to make sure that everybody goes and leaves their opinion, in the review section. I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything one way or the other. I'm saying if you look into these people and you have an opinion, you are free to share that, right? Because, with companies like this, there should be on record that they're not only horrible with service, but they like to threaten people and escalate and potentially are a threat to the community. So I'll consider tomorrow, not today, for my own different reasons, because you know me, right? I try to think ahead, or at least on the fly. So tomorrow will be the day that I go into this company and I speak about them specifically. And then I encourage others to look into them and then, leave their commentary on what you believe about their level of service. Okay. I'm sick and tired of all these scum. I'm sick and tired of loudmouth slaves who want to buck up to me over devices, phones, internets, and don't do a motherfucking thing day to day that takes courage of going past their fear. I ain't the one. Because if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed one day and I decide I don't give a fuck if I'm going to wind up in prison, I'm going to deal with you. Right? Because I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the incompetence, the intransigence, the incapability, the justifications, the excuses, and then the belligerence and oppositional combative behavior. It's beyond broken children. And that's why I always say, that's why I stay away from areas like this. That's why I stay away from the slaves with all their treatments and their beliefs, because it never goes well, right? It's like, it's been a half a dozen things in the last 6 months with these fucking slaves out here. I had another situation at the gas station. Somebody almost got killed because these slaves want to run their mouth when they're on fentanyl. I don't do fentanyl. I don't do anything anymore. And that's on record. They apparently do, whatever they're on. They're all fucking tatted out all over their face. They look dejected. They look disempowered. They look desperate. And then they want to run their mouth at the gas station, tell me they're going to do something to me and whatever. I tell them, come outside. Then they want to walk over to the car. And then you know what happens then, right? And then they get different ideas once they get near the car. Oh, wait, maybe this is not somebody who we really want to be like fucking around with. And that's how it's supposed to go. You're not supposed to be at the gas station running your mouth to me because I had a disagreement with the cashier who couldn't count another incompetent. So she can't count. I had to sit there 5 times and go, do you see this? Do you see the number? You're wrong. Go over it again. Then she finally realized she was wrong, wouldn't cop to it. Then she tried to keep me sitting there 20 minutes because she couldn't figure out all of a sudden how to use the cash register, how to call a manager, playing games. So I told her, you're playing fucking games with me. It's obvious. I can tell you're a lowlife because you're another one tattered from top to bottom. I can tell you're on drugs right now or did them shortly before the shift. I can tell a lot of things about someone pretty fucking quick. I could tell they don't care about their life and their future. I could tell they don't care about the business. God forbid you tell them any of this. Then they want to get attitude. So what happens? The woman gets an attitude. I'm telling her what the deal is. Now I got some loser lowlife over the back of me who wants to buck up to me. Oh, I'm gonna take you outside and teach you a lesson about talking to a woman, XYZ. I'm sick of you simps too. I'm gonna talk to a woman the same way I'm gonna talk to a man after the point that I realize she don't know how to conduct herself like a woman or a professional. The way she's speaking to me and how she's living and acting and how she fucking looks to begin with. So, let me vent a little bit. I guess that was the venting portion of the broadcast, if you want to call it that. I'm going to move on. Excuse me for being very rude and inconsiderate. I'm just venting about the general incompetence, incapability, and transigence of the general public and how all of them like to run their mouth and get loud and threaten violence until they're looking down at something else, right? And this is why you got to move like that, because there's no point in throwing hands with anybody as a grown adult. We don't need to do that. There's no point in getting into violence and getting somebody killed or going to prison. So you got to stay armed and you got to let these slaves know, listen, you're not going to play with me. And if you come anywhere near me and you get close enough, I'm going to give you a visual of what's going to happen next. I'm not playing with anybody out here. So that goes for people on here too. If any of you clowns got any ideas of coming near me or coming around me or doing something to me, you better fucking make it good and make it quick, because I'm done with everybody. And that's why I keep myself in the mountains. I'm a very loving and caring, peaceful man. I'm tired of dealing with scum, violent scum, drug addicted scum. I'm sick of them. Okay. And and it's getting more and more like readily apparent that this is not an isolated incident. You go to certain places and it's pretty much every other person. Some drug addicted slime who can't think, speak, barely even walk all at the same time and doesn't know the next right thing to do. And they're going to constantly choose the next wrong thing to do. All right. So this is why I advise everybody, get yourself in a peaceful place inside of yourself and out. Create a life with some people worthy of living. Get the fuck out of these cities and suburbs. The same way I tell JG, you should have no business wanting to live on a street. with a bunch of scum who have no priorities, who have no values and principles, and would potentially get you in a scenario where someone's life's going to be taken over some nonsense. I got Snafu back there as well. Snafu, how are you? My apologies for my venting.
No.
Snafu, Brian O'Shea, and Penile Power, please. Hello? This is where you three go.
I'm ready for the review. I'll definitely send a review.
I know you will.
Did you check your email the other night?
Yeah, I saw it after.
About terroristic issues and many harassment issues.
So Snafu's crew is hitting up Talcott's broadcast for terroristic threats.
He did.
Screenshot. It says,
taking the government,
misinformation. Hold on. It says misinformation, bullying, and terrorism. Those are fucking lofty charges, man. That's pretty heavy.
One of them went through.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you have a whole society, online and offline, of people who word don't mean nothing to them. Their reputation don't mean nothing. Their family, nothing. Nothing means nothing to them. This is what you need now. Now you need policy code. You need a whole bunch of false authorities to keep everybody in line and remind them of what their purpose is. I'm telling you, I have this streak in me where I go, I don't even understand it because I don't like getting into problems with people. I don't like violence. Even if I can win every time, I just don't like it. Even if I could get away with it and then go to prison, I don't like it. But I have this streak in me with some of these people. After they go to a certain point, I'm like, it's like I have the thing that wants to gamble, you know, and I have to look at that. I have to keep that thing checked because, you know, it scares me is really what I'm getting down to. It scares me, the part of me that at times goes, yeah, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get in this guy's face and we're going to hash this out. I want to lay eyes on him, if nothing else. And then I have to check that because, you know, you don't want to wind up in problems and issues. And like I said, even if I could get away with something, quote unquote, because it's not even getting away with it. There used to be a time when if you told a man, come on down here, I'm going to do something to you, and they came on down and they proved you wrong, that's just fair game. You know, that was your word and that was the response, and now you got to live with it. But that's not the case, right? So whatever, Snafu snaps. I guess I'm venting because it's on my mind. It was something that happened today recently.
And I think it's something that should be talked about because honestly, Paul, like there's a lot of people that have never dealt with the social, like you said, when you go to jail or prison, you have a different look on life. You understand life a little better. You understand social dynamics a little better. And unfortunately, some of these people are cupcake to the reality. And what you got to also think is just that little interaction you had right there. It also makes you have to be more cautious every time you go down there now because motherfucker, you could have said, fuck it, I'm da-da-da, but you know how motherfuckers are and they keep shit and da-da-da. So no, the world is ramping up. The optics are ramping up and blah, blah, blah.
And blah, 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 and da, da, da. Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been in a handful of situations where people ran their mouth and it went bad for them. And then they want to get to cop calling and all the rest of it. And then part of me goes, I'm not in a gang. I'm not a street person at this point. I don't have any code I have to live by other than a code of honor. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to risk going to prison to deal with uncivilized scum. I got a streak in me as well. The more that I age and the more I mature, I go, well, you're a slave. I'm not. You pay the taxes. I don't. You fund this system and you're obligated to follow the statutes, policies, and codes. You're running a business. I might just call the cops on you because I've already seen it. I've already dealt with it. I already know what happens when people run their mouth and then you or whoever with you does something. Then they go to writing everybody up. He was there and watched it. He did this to me. I'm almost dead now. This is what they'll do, right? So then this is why people then go to calling cops and just dealing it with paperwork and with the courts, because these folks are in a supposed civilized society. They pay into this whole system. Then they want to act like they're thugs and street people. Then if you bring the pain to them, they want to go to use the system against you. Right. And this is why, like I said, I stay away from it because I don't like the thing in me that wants to do violence. And I like almost even less the thing in me that says, I'm going to call the cops on this motherfucker because he's a voting citizen slave anyway. I'm going to teach him a lesson that way. This guy's threatening me. He owns a business. It's improper procedure, and he's a threat to the community. Charge him. You know, I don't like that streak in me. That's why I stay away. Right? Because my first inclination is to deal with them as a man face to face. My second inclination is to deal with them based on society. And I don't like either options really. You know, and I've never called the cops on anyone at this point. Right. But again, the more that I live and the more that I age and the more that I have an opportunity to be successful or to do what I love to do that I'm good at, I'm not going to roll around with you. I'm not going to play you. I'm not going to play with you, rather. You know, you want to get to it, do something to me, and then I'll respond back. If not, you know, I move on or I use the paperwork or the system to have them dealt with. And since I don't really like that, I don't like being vengeful and retributive, and I don't like being somebody who counts on other men and systems to handle my problem. So I really have two choices: deal with them face to face, get physical or not, try to reconcile as an honorable man, or just move the fuck on and not even give it a second thought, which is pretty much what I did. You know, and I may call the Better Business Bureau just to put them on notice that he's a piece of trash and I wouldn't do business with him for 3 seconds for multiple reasons at this point. Why not? You know, that's the system that's there for you to use for a reason. Folks want to run businesses and act like thugs and street people and act like scum. Well, then they get reported, they get bad reviews, and nobody wants to do business with them. That's really the best way to handle it. Hit them in the pocket.
That's what I keep telling all these people that question me about Talcott. You want to act like a guru and fucking say terroristic shit of taking over the lands? You might be looked at. You want to give misinformation? You might be looked at. You know, it just optics. But you know what, Paul? I think it's a good thing that put you in that situation because, you know, sometimes the situations remind us of the bigger picture. And someone like you know, sometimes it's hard for you to get that, you know, and I think today, like you said, I almost went to jail or someone almost killed. But in real talk, like sometimes the situations refine you, and especially in a guy with your position. Because I do think this thing's going to ramp up and many are going to come seeking. Because the whole Tucker Carlson fucking Putin shit's going to ramp the optics up even more, dude.
Yeah, well, that's why I say too, I've had to become more humble and practice humility, especially in the eyes of the creator, and try to see self as much as possible and not even chase success or even be wanting of it. Because there comes a point, I've seen it in other people's walk. You get successful enough and you have enough to throw around, and then, you know, you just put something on scum like this and get them dealt with. You know, I don't even want to be in that position because it's just
success, Paul. Because truly, I know as far as I'm speaking for a lot of the crew people and just people in general, they would much rather they look at someone like you versus like the ones who've sold out, obviously, way more successful because it's authentic, it's genuine versus the whole, you know, that one day when you said, hey, if you want to go to a Hug a Buddy show, you know, go to these ones where they mod, where they do this, where, you know, like the bigger ones, not even the like the ones that control it and have that whole vibe. But these are authentic. These are real life. This is like if you were in the streets or locked in a cells or whatever. My whole thing is you should be proud because you haven't let that shit fucking hit, you know. A lot of people do sell out, man, like full sell out. We all sell out in ways, but I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about here. And I think that's
there's a difference between selling out when it comes to you got a product or a service and you're pushing it, taking no prisoners, right? You ain't leaving nothing on the table. That's one way to move. That's selling out one way in a positive sense, being a hustler, not in a negative sense, versus selling out, meaning selling your soul and your principles and your values out to make a few bucks. Or to even make a lot of money, because really there's no amount of money or worldly power worth not respecting yourself or being respected or having credibility or integrity, right? A man is judged by his principles, not his bank account.
And I don't even know if it's success. Some of these people just do it for the feed off the others encouragement. Like I see Talcott and them, like they'll say the most delusional fucking shit and these people push them up. And it's like, are you fucking joking? Like, it's more detrimental to push these fucking delusional fucks
because they recognize that they need that. When people do that, this is why I tell people, you're being insulted indirectly. When people placate you and they play up your ego and they kiss your ass, they're acting like you need that. You shouldn't like that. You shouldn't want that, right? People do that for weak motherfuckers. You don't ever see anybody do that to somebody who's moving, who's empowered, who's inspired and successful. Right? They don't, I mean, they might be a yes man, but that's not really what's going on there. They're seeing Jack and others as weak and charity cases and pathetic, and they're trying to help them build self-confidence and self-esteem all the wrong ways. You don't actually build self-confidence and self-esteem by being told you're so great or feeling that. You build confidence and self-esteem by doing and being shit that gets results that you look to regularly and go, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I'm doing that. That's the only way I could see to get it. There's no real self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth by coming up around people or staying around people who tell you you're so great when you ain't. If anything, you're going to have an inflated sense of self and ego. And then you're going to wind up being disconnected from everybody around you, believing shit about yourself and your walk that's not true.
Well, I think things in the media realm and technical digital realm are going to, well, I know they will change from some of the intel we've been getting once this interview is released, because they are going to go on full forge WHO censorship, and we know what that means.
Well, yeah, because they're writing Putin up as some kind of a worldwide terrorist because he said, I'm going to use gold and silver. I don't want your fucking garbage. I don't want your, I'm not going to run the programs at my school. Basically, they're experts at taking nations who opt out of New World Order and calling them terrorists and then doing shit in their name and getting them demonized. We know that. So, but again, that's the, like you like to say, there's shallow optics and then there's deeper optics. That's the shallow upfront optics. Putin's being blamed for this. He's not really doing that. We know this is a worldwide program. We know this is hundreds of years in play, right? I brought up the 1890 manifesto. We know they've been planning world government. We know they've been planning World Economic Forum, right? World economy. We know they're doing world medical system that's going to dictate to everybody the last 3 years. So this is nothing new. They're just coming out in the open with it and implementing it completely. But now again, they always have to keep you one step behind of what it really is, right? Like now Tucker and Carlson and Putin are going to talk about what we all already know that the rest of us been talking about for a decade, and just keep the general public just one step behind of what's actually happening on the macro level, right?
Well, it's funny you say out in the open. I'm working on a new video for the new thing that we're putting together. And you remember that Anne Hathaway or the Hemingway chick that was rushed in an ambulance and popped out of the fucking, the
Anne Hesh. Anne Hesh.
Huh?
It's Anne Hesh, not Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. So I'm working on a video, and I was just thinking about that whole scene and the optics of that. That's in your face. And see, she was working with a congresswoman on just some Jeffrey Epstein optics that they're now releasing now.
The first thing I thought of when you said that was Princess Diana. You remember that fiasco?
Yeah. And
she's writing the letters. Hey, the guy I'm with is going to kill me, the prince. And then he said it's going to kill me in an auto accident. And then they land right under a bridge, synchronistically or coincidentally. And then for 45 minutes, they can't get in to get her out of there. And then they go under the tunnel and they find out it's an ancient burial site, sacrifice site is the anecdotal testimony.
And they do all these things in front of our faces, and including with like the WWE big news, a lot of wrestling fan people. See, what's funny is these fucking retards, these slaves, they don't see the optics in your face. And when I was doing that video of Anne Hesh, man, it really gave me goosebumps of realizing in your face, this woman was literally taken. Like you could see her jump out of that fucking bag half naked. They shoved her in. These are ambulances. No one ever questioned ambulance 93, which is linked to cult. Blah, blah. But the fact is they do this in your face public shit, or we all know about it, and they do it in your face, but no one cares. It's kind of like this Tucker and thing. But I do know what this will cause from intel that we've gotten is certain things that have already been approved with these big tech companies on attacks on journalism, especially with digital media, will be implemented to the fullest once this interview is released. So we will start seeing.
Can I ask you a question? 2 questions, because that was already a question. Yes. Why are you? Because you're famous for calling other people out, and it just occurred to me. It's, I guess, not the biggest deal in the world. I'm just kind of looking for your rationale. Why are you over there with Pathetic Warrior cupcaking and talking up to him like he's somebody? hey, Mr. Pathetic Warrior, I just want to, I like what you're doing. And you know, give me the wow.
He used to call people these fucktards out. And I told him, if you listen to the conversation I had with him, because he started saying, oh, you're doxing me. I said, fuck, I put your info out. You know, I told him.
Yeah, but hold on, bro. Hold on. Not that I need you, nor do I really want you to like sing my praises or defend me or really anything. But why does that never come with anyone? Like, why does everybody get around these people who've been shitting on me? Just let me finish. Just let me finish. Why doesn't it ever come up? Like it's been your experience. Like, forget that it's me and we're friends online or whatever it is. Like, you've been here, you saw what happened, you continue to see the games. Like, why doesn't it come up? Why doesn't it get addressed? Why doesn't he get held accountable? Why does some people get different standards? Like, Talcott can get chased every day, held accountable, brought up certain shit. This guy gets a pass?
No. Actually, if you want to be real, Snafu Snaps is the one who did stand up for Daddy. Because if you,
it's not about stand up for me. Nobody's oppressing me. Nobody's taking anything from me.
That he had personal vendettas against you.
It's about the truth, right?
Is why he's cupcaking to the Talcotts and the host. I said back in the day, you would call everyone out for what it is, whether you had personal vendetta or not. But now, because of your personal vendetta against Paul, and that's why he's mad at me in a sense, because like, oh, so you're making this narrative I have personal vendetta for Paul. So yes, in a way, I called his ass out.
How does he not have a personal vendetta against me? He won't speak to me privately anymore, and he won't let me up on the broadcast to have a conversation or give the audience what the fuck they're looking for. How does he not have personal feelers about it?
Right, and that's what I called him out for. And that's what I'm saying. So when you say no one's sticking up for you, I absolutely did. I said,
again, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Hey, let's get it right. We ain't in prison. We ain't a gang. Nobody's jumping me. Nobody needs to stick up for me. I'm perfectly able to do that if I need to on my own. I'm just talking about truth, yo.
Yeah, truth, yo. That's what I said. His truth, yo, has been compromised with cupcakes because of his personal vendetta with you. That's why I was even fucking at him. I'm like, bro, just because you're pissed at Paul, okay, you and him have your. I tell Paul all the time when we go.
Can we go back a second? Can we go back a second? Can we go back a second? At the risk of again catching the rap that I'm jealous or that I like look at this as competition. What's the reason for you or anyone to even go over there? There's nothing going on there. The conversation's terrible. The broadcast is even worse.
I personally, when I went there, I was telling him, you have this vendetta with Paul and your cupcake with these cupcakes. That was my reason. Wasn't to push his flat shit earth up. Wasn't this, that. I literally said, why the fuck are you like feeding Jack's delusional shit? Why are you sitting there with a guy who supports pedo videos and shit like that?
You know why? Because they want attention, numbers, money. And they want to be seen as not disagreeable in groups. They want to be seen as the opposite of me, apparently. Like, I'm very disagreeable. No one can work with me is the new narrative, new old narrative. And that I'm a problem for everyone, right? So we know why they're all of a sudden hanging out with all the people they got next to me and started shitting on and basically said, Paulie boy, daddy, come beat up everybody for me. And then when I did it, they turned around and said, look at how Paulie boy beat up everybody when we asked him to. He's such a bad guy. Yeah, you come to me, you tell me all these people are doing this. I fucking go in everywhere, check everybody, expose everything. And then you turn around and use it against me and say how bad and evil I was when your bitch ass came over whining for me to join you anyway. And the only reason I joined you wasn't to stick up for him. I joined him because I saw what the fuck he was saying and what they were doing. Then all of a sudden that changed and he went back to dealing with him. This is fake ass duplicitous shit. That's what cowards and haters do on the street, on the metaverse, everywhere. And then you'll be sitting somewhere in a jail while they're out on the street failing and acting like they got away because they didn't have to finally deal with consequences or liability of shit they create.
I'm just going to say it like it is. Like when some of these people think that they're the ones that matter. That all these people are for them to do, and it's like, motherfucker, people have been around a long time on this platform, even before you motherfuckers even started your shit.
Oh, you don't use all those. Like, I'm not even talking about you specifically. If it applies, it applies. They don't do nothing, bro. They're not about nothing. They don't do nothing. They've never created nothing, and they're not changing nothing about themselves or their life.
Right.
So why does that
pretty
just
much
keep
went
getting
into
overlooked?
tell him. Like your vendetta against Paul. I see you cupcaking with Talcott and Host State and all these others, where back in the day you would still have the vendetta Paul, but you would have called these motherfuckers out too. No, he needs to have that tribalism because he feels he needs to have backup to talk shit on you or whatever. No, I called him out for that. That's what and he knows that. That's what we talked about. He's upset that I fucking am, quote, creating this narrative. He has agenda against you, you know? And
yeah, it's not even a personal agenda. Like the man down there says, everyone in life, the majority of folks you're going to catch shit for being real and authentic and saying what you see and what you feel or what you believe or what you think it is. It's just life. So, add another one to the list of people who have thoughts and feelings and vendettas about me because I just spoke at how I saw it instead of bullshit them like everyone else in their life.
Well, I guess Wizard would be a perfect example of that recently happening because you're real and authentic with him like everyone else. He didn't like it, and now he's upset. So,
bro, why do you think that I don't let anybody have personal access to me beyond a certain point? Because I already know when I meet people, I pretty much know what to say and not to say because I see the move. And then at some point I go, fuck it. I'm coming out with everything. I waited too long anyway. And then I say what I really think and feel. And then they catch feelings, proving that if I'd have done it from the beginning, they couldn't take it. That's why I don't let most people into my life beyond a certain point because I already read them. I can tell where they're weak. I know it. What now?
Does that hold you back from saying things you wish you would have said because you know that the reaction with any of us
because with most people, I don't like them or respect them. So I just speak my mind. I don't give a fuck. With people who I actually like or respect, I kind of hold my tongue till a certain point. Then I speak the whole truth. Then most of them catch feelings with me. In which case I go, it didn't matter if I liked them and respected them. They can't handle the whole truth or they can't handle my view and perspective on the truth. In which case I can't have them around me. That's a liability. You got to be with people in life who, like the guy you saw on here, Clayton, he don't have to look like much or have much to be battle tested. He's been in situations where they go, bro, you're going to prison if you don't fucking say that me, meaning me, him, put you up to this and was the reason for this, right? The feds came in and everything, told him, you're going to say Paulie Boy told you to do all this or you're going to jail. He sat in jail for a month and then they dismissed. He could have got out of that and most people would have. So I can't fuck with people who can't deal with the truth because they definitely can't deal with a heavy lie when they bring it to them. Hey, you're going to do this or this is going to happen to you. They're going to fold, right? So if you can't deal with the truth and how I see it and how I'm living it, you definitely can't deal with me because they're going to bring a heavy lie to you at some point and you're not going to be able to deal with it. You know, so it's just the way that it is. Like I've ever spoke anything on here that motherfuckers didn't know already, right? Give me a break. You didn't know you were poor and broke. You didn't know all these things about yourself that I knew at a certain point and had to confront and reconcile and then just do better on. You didn't know you were poor and broke. You didn't know your relationships suck with women, right? You didn't know that you were lacking somewhere in faith and show it regularly in your countenance and your results. You didn't know that you weren't producing as much value in certain places as you could because you haven't really put your all into it. Come on. Like, let's really be real with ourselves and each other. They know, they just don't want it spoken. And when I speak it, I become the enemy. That's all that is. That's a you issue, not me. Because if I can see it and I can understand it and I speak it and it triggers you, well, everyone else sees it and they can understand it. And they're just not going to speak it because they don't want to trigger you. I don't give a fuck. Get triggered, sit with your feelers, realize why the fuck you got triggered, and do and be better. That's the process for every fucking self. You don't get any other way out of it. Sorry to be the party pooper. You know?
How do you feel about people who say easier said than done? Do you think that's in and of itself kind of an indictment?
Bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. There's a guy I saw just yesterday, and I've seen a dozen of them. Just again yesterday, I saw a guy running down the street with hips and no legs. Are you kidding me? He's on TikTok doing 1 million views and getting to some money and whatever else, running down the street every day, giving inspirational advice with no fucking legs and arms. And you want to tell me easier said than done? Every one of these bitch ass motherfuckers on here has legs and arms. I just saw a mover today when I called the second company shop. He's 60 fucking years old and he just fucking outworked the kid who was half his age. Give me a break. They don't want to work. They don't want to put the time, energy, attention in, and they don't want to fucking study how to make money because it's not righteous enough for them. Let's be real about it. Most of the clowns who are attracted to me are attracted to part of me that they know cares more about the truth and spirituality than money. Doesn't mean I'm going to deny that you better put yourself to how to make some fucking money because you need it. If you ain't going to build all your shit and farm it, you're going to need it. So you better study how to get it. That's common fucking sense. You don't study how to get it because you're in love with it. You study how to get it because you're in love with the truth and your passions and you want to buy some time to do cool things or to live your fucking life freely or to live in a way where you create something else. How are you going to do that if you can't pay the VIG? So when I get whatever I get at a value doing the broadcast, it doesn't buy me Jordans and all the rest of it. It buys me the next year or two to do what the fuck I do that I love to do, that I'm good at, and not have to go work someone else's purpose. Easier said than done. Everybody's got stuff they're good at. Everybody's got stuff that they could share. Everybody's got stuff they could learn and create and bring value, products and services, or an understanding that can change somebody's life or make their life better. Who can't do that on here? They just don't want to do it. They want to sit around like broken children and live off other people and expect something to drop in their lap. And it doesn't happen that way. There's not a successful motherfucker out there who's bought their way out of the game who could live the rest of their life free and empowered and mind their own business who thinks like that. Doesn't fucking work. Doesn't happen like that. And it's not meant to.
I think it's also, Pino, a choice of what and how you transfer energies. So, for instance, people who are depressed or fucked up or blah, blah, you know, they could use that energy to better themselves versus just sitting there and dwelling or sitting there and fucking just, you know, whatever. Oh, I'm going to fucking.
Right. You know why most people are depressed? The same reason I was at one point and suicidal. Because I was a piece of shit. You get it? That's usually what tends to cause anxiety and depression. When you sit around all day, waste your fucking life, have a loser group of friends, have a family that's not a support system or any source of courage or inspiration, and you aren't doing anything different than everyone else. Yeah, you're going to be anxious and depressed. That's your nervous system telling you get the fuck off your ass or do something different. Get yourself into some tests and challenges. Go into adversity. Co-create. Understand yourself and get inspired. That's what it's calling on you for, not to continue to lay around and take drugs and say, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, they're different than me. I'll never have it. I'll never be it. Bullshit. There's no difference from anyone else out there and anybody else listening to the sound of my voice. And this is exactly what the fuck I would have told myself sitting on the couch, putting needles into myself in a depression. Give me a fucking break. Of course you're depressed and anxious. You're hooked on drugs and you got nowhere to go with nobody and you ain't doing nothing of any worth. You don't think this blah, blah. Okay, Randy Reeves, come on up here and get the fuck out. Sit here and do monologue or talk my shit and have some retard in a chat who's never done nothing and been nothing. Get the fuck out of my face. Blah, blah. Right, I'm just up here talking. It don't mean nothing. The information, the understanding don't mean nothing. It's not valuable. It's not applicable. You don't need it. You're doing great in your life. That's why you're here watching me, right?
Randy Reeves is one of those deeply tied to the pedograph optics. That's why he's talking shit.
I don't give a fuck. They're all the same person to me over and over again. When you get to a certain point of seeing self as self, that's a positive and a negative. You come across somebody, you go, I know you're a fucking loser. I just tell by the name at this point. Randy Reeves. It's not even a real name. I'd bet anything on it. No picture, no likeness, can't come up on panel. It's the same story over and over again. Just another fucking scroller. Just another seeker online. Just another loser failure who thinks they got it all figured out. Because he probably works at a corporation somewhere and has a BMW. Fucking clown.
So do you feel like that it is the, what do I want to say? Like with is it discernment or is it?
And you can get the fuck out too. It's pizza time. Zetetic Warrior, not the real Zetetic Warrior. You can get the fuck out too. Who else? Let me clean it up down there. Tired of these fucking same clowns in my face every day.
Where's your African American
tired of their fucking creepy stalking and their horrible sense of humor. You guys ain't funny. You ain't clever. You're a waste of fucking space down there. Give yourself and everyone else a break, okay? You ain't fucking splitting the atom and you ain't reinventing the wheel down there in the chat box. You're wasting your fucking time, energy, and attention. You were saying, Warthog Creature? We got to get to break and slaveness at some point. We're almost an hour.
Is it a discernment thing, or do you think it's an ego thing with these people?
It's both. They have little to no discernment. The intelligence quotient is barely beyond 100 points. They couldn't make connections in most situations if they tried. You'd have to sit there with them for years in order to get them to see what the fuck you see when you're like over a 120, 130 IQ and you can just make connections like that on the fly, right? You can tell the connectivity of someone like me is off the charts, right? I could smoke 10 blunts and I can sit here and talk and I don't have to right? That's the difference between being an actual human being and a man with connectivity and being a walking dead creature. So there's little to no discernment, and then the pride and ego and false self just doubles down on the lack of awareness. Because they've convinced themselves or been convinced by everyone around them that they have what they need and are what they need. And it's painfully evident when you meet most people that they're lacking and slacking, right? And I'm not saying that I'm not in certain areas, right? We all have our areas. It's just, again, you ask me a question, I answer. Is it the discernment or the ego? It's both. They don't have the awareness to know that they're fucked, and they don't have the ability to check their ego to question themselves or listen to an answer to realize they don't have the awareness and they're fucked. Most people think they're okay. I've lived XYZ long. I'm getting along right now. Everything seems to be like everyone else. I'm okay. I got it figured out. No, you don't. The last 3 years proved that, by the way. I'm just going to always go back to that. The last 3 years proved all. Everything I just said that you think is an egotistical generalization has all been proven in the last 3 years. No more hypothesis. All right. This is no more theory. This is what is.
It's really interesting that you say that. Everyone seems to say this 3 years thing, not realizing that we're about a month shy of 4.
I don't care. I'm not even counting anymore. The time is irrelevant. This happened already 100 years ago, 100 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 200 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Yeah. It's the same loop over and over again. Let's be real about it.
It's that infinite dragon thing we talked about yesterday.
The Ouroboros, yeah.
As soon as you open the Bible, what's the first story? We've been over it before. We're coming for the children. What are they going to do with the guy corrected me last time? Wasn't Jesus, Moses they put down the river. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all conscious and awareness. It's all the same story. There's certain people in this realm who get it. The rest of them can't find the fucking nose on their face. And the ones who get it, been trying to tell them all along what this is and how to get out of it. And instead of them listening, they go, give us these people in that system. And then the top down comes for them. It's the same story over and over again. So find a way out of the hologram, please, because I've been looking at all the edges. I've been looking at all the seams and the edges. There's no way out of the hologram other than internally with your understanding and your way of beingness. We're here. It's been the same thing from the beginning of time. The names haven't even changed. It's Paul, John, Luke, Yeah,
I wanted to point some optics for the people too. And we could use this digital experience for like a real world scenario. Look at Paul, the resources you brought, Paul, which would be the viewers, subscribers, the connection, the blah, right? There's so many other people that were doing that, but like in this little community, all these fucking people use resources, right? When shit goes down, they're going to follow these people about their truth, and it may not even be following them for the truth itself. It may just be resources in general, and that's what people forget. And you called it out from the beginning, which we see, like when they first started.
And that's why you need to get your own fucking business and your own money, and you just grow your resources outside the system, because if you don't have a war chest and you don't have resources, you're going to get pimped on to get your basic needs met.
Exactly. And I feel that people will, like, like say, Jack would be so much dangerous if he had more resources. And that's what I'm saying is you got to watch out.
Why do you think God won't give a motherfucker like that anything? And anything he gets, it's taken from him quickly. Why do you think the Spirit won't give these motherfuckers anything? And whatever they get is taken. Because the thing already knows you can't have too much value and power because you'll misuse it, you egoic motherfucker. Excuse me, egotistical. I keep conflating the two.
Right.
The same thing I know is true about me that I just spoke about me before. I just told you. If I had $1 billion and that guy ran his mouth the way he did today, I'd strongly consider putting something on him and having him dealt with. And then I'd have to sit down with myself and say, Paulie boy, would you order someone to go do something you wouldn't do yourself? No. Even if you can get it done and pay a few bucks for it, is it worth it? Do you really want that karma on your head of having something done to this piece of shit, knowing he's already going to get his comeuppance? Just practice faith and patience and peace and let it go. He didn't do nothing to you. You didn't lose out on nothing. He's playing with your ego and your pride. Don't get sucked into it.
Right. And that was like a test in a way for you. Like that was that truly was a test if you really break it down.
It always is. You got dozens of people on and off screen who are constantly testing me because they want to get me to the point where I kind of snap or lose it and do something out of character. And then the other side can put me away and can fuck with me, play with me a little bit more. Right. So that's all that is. It's all tests and challenges. Right. And again, the only thing that saves me is just me being honest. I'm really not a violent person. I'm really not a tough guy. Like I'm really a loving, caring person, and I would rather just move on at all times than get into it with anybody. So it's always kind of saved me, even at the points when people have done things to me. There's been certain points that go so far, and then they get what they're looking for. But most situations and most times, it doesn't even. I don't even get beyond a reaction, to where I have to like go back and regret what I've done, because that's just the core of my beingness. I see all beings as self. I know why people would do what they do. I might do the same thing. So it's very easy for me to overlook when people do stuff to me or to forgive them. Right. Also, too, because they're in their ego and they want to seem like a man, and everybody does that. But, I'm not necessarily just anybody. Right. And again, anybody's capable of that. So I don't even want to play the ego game by saying that, because I just said I'm not a tough guy. I don't want to do violence. But again, there is a part of me when it comes to the truth and it comes to honor where I have this streak in me where I go, I'd rather die today or find out what this is all really about than continue to just let this go. Right. So I have to check that. If I'm going to direct that, I can use that for rights and freedoms. I don't need to use it for tow truck guys and the rest of these and the moving guy, because I had an issue with a tow truck guy, too. I've had a bunch of issues. I've told you about the guy who spit at my friend one day and it landed on me. And I got out of the car and I got in his face and I went to grab for the gun to put it in his face because I was angry. And that's why they teach you, don't run off your emotions, because if you get angry, you're going to do something you regret. Right. So chances are if I'd have put the gun in his face and the guy didn't grab the gun from me because it was my buddy's gun and it was sitting there and I grabbed it and he grabbed it right away from me. He said, you ain't bringing that gun out there. If he didn't grab for it and I brought it out there and put it in his face, somebody would have seen it. They'd have called the police and they'd have figured out some camera angle and they'd have put me in prison.
Yeah. So when you said like shit almost popped off, or someone almost died, was that recently or are you talking about before?
With what?
Earlier on your stream, you're like, yeah, shit popped off, someone almost died, or could have like, is that the situation?
No, I didn't say someone almost died. I said it almost got to the point where, it's like, what do you do if somebody threatens violence to you and you tell them, well, I'm going to my car, and if you're going to do whatever the fuck you're going to do, you're going to come out here and do it. And they start walking toward your car. What do you do next? You grab for whatever the fuck you got and you get ready to use it. And when they see it, they think twice about maybe just keep going. Right? So it's not about, again, when you're in that mode when you're in that mode and someone like that is walking toward you, your adrenaline starts going a bit. And now you're just assuming that they really want trouble. So anybody's going to go that far out of the way to get trouble, you got to deal with them, because they're probably a sick person and they're probably capable of violence. Right. So soon as I see that, you say drive away. But it wasn't the timing wasn't like, it wasn't that way. It all worked out to where I walked out, started going to the car. He walked out right after me. By the time I got to the car, he was about probably 3 to 5 feet from maybe a little bit more because it's hard to judge that. It all happens so fast and you get adrenaline going, right? And she was just getting in and doing with the pump. And then the way it all worked out, he was already there before she could even really get in completely and we could drive away, right?
Right. And the truth is it's not to be aware of the situation because, no, I get it, man. I absolutely get it. And especially nowadays, more people are trigger happy than ever. More people are on that edge than ever. And
because it's a natural part of a mammal. We have a mammalian component. There's a natural part of us that even almost wants the interaction because it's natural for a man to want to take scum out of this existence. Why do you think police exist? Why do you think all of these things exist? And it's very easy for these folks to do that job. They just believe they're taking scum out of existence. So, again, do we go to higher order thought or spirituality in order to see others as self so we don't do that? Yes. Does it work for us sometimes? Yes. Does it work against us sometimes? Potentially. I don't know the bigger implications in the afterlife and before life and what it all means. But the base level, grounded, mammalian component says, oh yeah, let's get it going today because I'd love to take scum like you out of this realm who potentially would harm good people or potentially would lie and fraud and deceive. Every mammal out there does that innately. They go, I'll kill my own fucking baby if it's going to be a threat to this community. Baby comes out deformed. It's going to take everybody's time, energy, attention, and resources. They'll stomp that baby in 3 seconds to move on for us all to survive and succeed. It is what it is. You just got to direct it, like I said, with the most conscience and the most higher order thought and try to practice forgiveness and faith and peace as much as possible. And when they give you no other option, then you let them have it. And then you got to deal with that with the maker, right? Because like I said, even if you're in the right, I don't think there's anybody out there who could take a life or hurt somebody, even if they were correct and true and defending themselves and not have to sit with that, because you still did that. That person, it's still a person, right? So that's a heavy thing. Matthew Sims is that scum. Okay, Randy Reeves is back. I timed him out. I didn't ban him completely. So again, Randy Reeves, I'm not interested in you coming in here and starting combat with Snafu Snaps. He's not doing anything with you right now. He hasn't been doing anything here. I don't know what your beef or your issue is with him. Handle it somewhere else because I shoot straight here, right? I call it as it is. Maybe he was shitting on you before, and I thought he was talking about me. He was going blah blah blah. He might have been fucking with you.
No, he just triggered his little drunk mad mystic. That crazy hippie bitch. They're having problems, Daddy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that people want to inject their emotions into every situation. It's not cold; it's what is. There is no emotion around cause and effect and what is. Right. This is where the human animal. Go ahead.
I was going to say what you said. A lot of people probably just glazed over, but it had impact on me. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but when you talked about the baby and if they were going to fucking if it fucked up and caused resource issues, they would fucking have no problem fucking getting rid of it versus, I don't think people understand the truth to that statement you just made. Like they can say, but in reality, that is the most true statements. And to even the primal essence of just survival, it's really sad, to see a lot of these people, like you said, ego discernment. I feel the discernment is more than the ego, my opinion. I don't know. I know you said half and half, but I feel just.
Well, that's why the cops do what they do, because the more they live just like me, the more easy it is for them to just say, you know what? And it's a slippery slope because we ain't God and you can't live like that. We may work with God or be a piece of God, but we really don't have that judgment. It's best to stay away from it as much as possible. The more you live in this realm and the more you see, the more it becomes easier to go, oh, I know who and what you are, and I know what you think you're going to do, and I'm going to put a stop to it and just really not give a fuck, there's been a handful of situations, the more that I live, that I just, stay it how it is or do whatever, and, I can tell everyone in the situation's like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I used to get like that, like, oh, man, that was shocking, that was this, that was that. I just move on my day and my life. I go, it's no longer shocking and scary to me. It's no wonder. It's no mystery. It's obvious why things are the way they are and why I just said what I said and did what I did. Right? So
I want to ask you a question.
I went off at someone at the bank the other day because they tried to play me and talk to me like I'm a fucking asshole. And I said, you don't give a fuck about my life and my time and my value. You're not sorry. Don't lie to me and tell me you're sorry. You're giving me a corporate spiel, as they used to say on the East Coast. I don't want to hear it. Just talk straight to me, man to woman. I had to tell the woman that now beta males want to come out from the back and play hero. I go, listen, it's nothing personal. And this ain't about ethics when it comes to man or woman. It's about the system we're all living in. I got a goofy bitch in front of me who thinks because she's hot and has the whole outfit and the hair that I care about her going, I'm so sorry, while she's trying to push me into fascism. I don't care that you got a Jezebel harlot out here who looks like eye candy that all the rest of the slaves follow and kowtow to, right? I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in getting simped on and tricked on, and I'm not interested in losing my rights and freedoms, and I'm not interested in how you're going to call me impolite and unethical because I'm telling you straight who and what you are and what you're about and who and what I am and what I'm about. I think we need more of that.
I'm surprised you didn't tell them motherfuckers that you were the bank president, hence from a friend of yours, Wizard. You know,
I tried that. It didn't work. I tried that. It didn't work, man. They said, what, are you watching the Wizard and Snafu show?
Yeah. So now we got two people, Wizard. No, honestly, you should have been like, motherfuckers, I'm your president. Wizard told me so. I was surprised you didn't go there.
Yeah, I can't stand that shit, bro. I'd rather them just tell me, listen, we're incompetent, we're incapable, or we got nothing to say. The system says this, and we're followers. Don't give me that. I'm so sorry. And yeah, oh, I understand. And I'm sure you understand. No, I don't understand because what you're saying makes no sense. And I know what's behind it. And I know who you work for or what you work for, rather. And you don't even know or care. Right? So don't bullshit me. Just tell me you're a fucking coward slave. You dolled yourself up here today to bullshit everybody. I'm not one of them. You can tell by looking and talking to me for 3 seconds. Don't treat me like one. It's an insult to the way that I live. It's an insult to the way we should be living. And it's an insult to my intelligence. Because I can see right through you. And I know what you're about. Because I know what you're all about. Just like the beta males who come out from the back side-eyeing me. And then when I look at them, they go, because they're in their little uniform and they still got to keep their job, right? Well, go ahead and say something. I got loud in here. I told the bitch she was goofy and what she's saying makes no sense. And you want to say something about it or do something. Go ahead. You're going to come out from the back, all three of you, and side-eye me. And then when I look at you, you're going to go like this. Now I have less respect for you. Now I really can't stand you. Get the fuck back in your hole. I'd respect you if you came out and said, listen, sir, this is slavery. You're getting a little loud around here. Could we just have a conversation and maybe figure something out? Or could you just relax and move on with your day, right? And I'd say, you know what? You're right. But it's all the extra shit, the fake shit, the bullshit.
You literally said you want the guy to come out and said, this is slavery. Now you're dreaming like Talcott. You know that it never happened.
I've had them tell me. I've had cops tell me off to the side, listen, bro, you know what this is all. It's all I had two 30-year sergeants tell me this is all municipal bullshit. It's all bureaucracy. It's all nonsense. If we had anything to say about it, this wouldn't happen.
No, it's like in
just
prison.
Talk to me straight. Just talk to me man to man. We're all in the same life, having the same fucking deal and the same issues. Don't bullshit me.
No, I get that. And that I think there is more of an awakening with these people in position. And that will be interesting to see how and who they choose as far as when they seek their truth, and resources.
The point is, Snafu, if I'm somewhere and you walk up to me and I'm about to tell you a line of bullshit, I don't go, hey, here's my line of bullshit. I'm sure you understand. No, I don't. And you know I don't. So don't say it passive aggressively to try to gaslight me. Just say, this is what it is. We can't really do nothing about it. I wish I worked somewhere else. I'm a loser failure. I go, you know what? Whatever. We'll do better. We'll all do better and be better someday. Don't give me the passive aggressive gaslighting bullshit, presumptuous. And then when I say I don't understand, you want to do the close the thing and walk away routine, right? Because you want to get in a huff. You work for a corrupt corporation. You're a loser failure. You make no sense and you're incompetent. Whose fault is that? And then that's where then I go, who's the real idiot? Because I'm the one doing business with them.
That's kind of like the the double-edged sword, so to speak, thing, or using the tech on tech, so to speak, I get it. It's one of those morality within yourself issues that you have to contemplate of how you address each situation and the person. Because I guarantee
just like this guy, the second movers came today. He unloads the truck, give him $20 each. There's two of them extra after a $400 bill. We give him $20 each extra, and I gave him a quarter ounce of weed and a fucking natural tobacco wrapper. What the fuck? They smoke weed. They're moving guys. I know when I used to be a mover, if somebody gave me $20 and a quarter ounce of weed, I'd be over the moon. So the fucking dumbass gets right in the truck and runs into the fucking keypad for the storage unit. And this is why I said you can't even give nobody nothing. Because in my head, I go, before I did it, I go, I'm not going to give it to him to the end because I know what I would have done. I'd have taken 10 minutes out, rolled a blunt, smoked it, and then got back to work. Or I'd have been so excited to get the fuck out of there and be done that I'd do something stupid at one point in time. So I'm like, whatever, let me just look out. Sure enough, ready to get the fuck out of there, rushing, gets the weed and the extra money. They're over the moon, runs into the keypad. Now the guy says, we're responsible for the mover running a fucking truck into the keypad. Like I'm driving a thing, right? Now we're in the next fucking argument, the next back and forth. Now you got to compel this moving company to do a whole job for free now because they got to pay for a keypad. Not my problem. Don't run into it next time. I took care of you guys, looked out for you. You got more than what the fuck you expected, and you overcharged the motherfucker too. Let's be real about it. You can't make this shit up, bro. I get a dozen fucking things a day with incompetent, incapable people. I start to wonder, am I drawing this shit in? Because I recognized it, am I now creating this reality constantly, or is this just what it is?
Did they try and fight you on that with the whole we caused damage to the shit? Like, did they really? Not really, okay.
Because they knew how that was going to go. You really can't even argue that at that point. I would have loved to seen that. I was waiting for it, but they didn't do it. They said, we'll just pay for it. So now we'll see if they actually do it. Because I've had people tell me before, oh no, we'll just pay for it. And they try to string you out. I fucking jerk off, open the fucking door, crack into the mirror, break it right in front of everybody. Because the wind took the wind. I said, and then they start me up again. If you're a grown man and you get out of the car and the wind takes the door and cracks into the fucking mirror on the side of the car, and your excuse is the wind is strong out here. I go, you're a grown man. Like, I have to go, do you really going to make me say this right now? What your daddy would have told you right now that you obviously didn't have? You don't know how to get out of a fucking car on a windy day and hold the fucking door and act like a man. You just fling the door open, you get out, the wind takes it, and then you're looking at me. Oh, the wind took it. I go, yeah, and you broke the mirror, and now you owe me for it. Okay, I'll pay for it. Now you got to chase the guy for 3 months. Scumbag lowlife. Instead of him going home and thinking every night he broke my fucking mirror because he's a weak bitch and it has no awareness. Nah, he's going to go on with his life, right? Who cares? He's got no fucking honor. They got no scruples or integrity or credibility. It's pathetic. Then I got to tell him like his father, you think this is right for me to chase you when you're a weak, unaware bitch? You should have came out with the cash right then and there. I let you fucking slide because you're probably a broke bitch too. You couldn't go to the ATM and give me the $200 for what the fuck you did? No, it should cost me, right?
I've been hearing that. People have been saying Jack Hubbard was talking about you the other day. It's not the first time I heard that. I'm going to have to go look that up and see if he said
keep
something.
Talking about me. I must be doing something right.
Yeah. If you got the clip, send it to Paul.
When they stop talking about you, then you got a problem, Snappy Snaps. In show business? Business we're in, you and I and you? When they stop talking about you.
I've been dealing with this for years, man. But that's what's funny about this whole thing is I really feel that they're pushing up, and that's why I was at Z's, because okay, I get it. You've said it yourself. Z's a dumbass, but you respected him in certain ways. Blah, blah. I get it. I feel the same way. Paul.
I said that.
Back in the day, way back in the day when you guys were cupcaking, maybe working out. You were like, when you guys were.
No, I never said I respected him for things. I said that I enjoyed his company, and I thought that he brought an extra element to the broadcast that I could play off of. I didn't respect him. I didn't know him, and I don't know what he did. What would I have to respect him for?
No, I guess the word respect is should I use? I guess the word is you willing to work, willing to see him being able to come up.
Absolutely. I do that with everybody.
Yes. So anyways, I saw the same with him. But I've seen a total switch since he's come back. And that's what I told him. And he knows that. That's why he's angry at me. But
he's almost a completely different person than from the guy who was here for those couple months. It's absurd. It's a completely different personality, way of speech, pattern of speech.
The digital experience, the idea of money being sent by certain donators, the blah, blah, blah. Some of these people, they just whatever. But I can honestly say from the people I know you've had contact, worked with, people you still work with, blah, blah, you have stuck true to you. And that has been good and detrimental in so many ways. And I see when you talk about it. So what I could have done, I understand. And I don't think some of these people do have that understanding. Their discernment's so fucking off. But I think a lot.
Well, let's be clear also, while I talk about this shit and while I may vent, I don't feel victimized and I don't feel it's detrimental. You don't miss out on shit that you never felt was meant for you.
No, I don't think you feel victimized one bit. I mean, you haven't presented yourself.
I'm fucking blessed. I'm way out of the game. I got a core group here who support me and let me do what I do and somehow make a living by the end of the day. I'm beyond over the moon. I'm thankful and grateful every day. I'm beyond blessed. I couldn't even get my space to regret or to feel like there's a detriment to me and what I do. Are you kidding?
It sounds like you've been, busy doing other things and we've talked about this past, and this is a day where I'm just snafuing it. Have you thought about anything, yay or nay, about because you've talked about it, doing some stuff for Unslavia, your stream, doing, whether it's the comedy or different type stuff. Have you thought, I know you getting your sign, and I told you I was going to do on the street shit, and that's for real. And I encourage Brian to do the same thing.
Yeah, bro. I got a woman here. Who is open to interacting with other women. She has with me in a limited capacity. The only reason we haven't more is because so when I get to a more stable place, there's no lack of content in my future. When it comes to conversations about polyamory, when it comes to farming and growing reefer, when it comes to I got nothing but content. When it comes to me at some point potentially getting on stage, because at some point I want to do comedy and a little bit of music, and I have to get comfortable with that.
With the reefer, are you using T5s or are you using T5s?
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Okay. I still stuck with high pressure. I know high pressure sodium's old school, but I love I'm at the sodium.
Outdoor is the way to go at this point, man. You don't have to do as much. It's low cost. And I personally believe, I can't necessarily prove it, but I just believe that outdoor reefer, when grown properly, is better than indoor because it's using the sun and the elements. It's got to be better.
I got to believe the same thing. I got to believe. You know what I do notice, though, which is weird? You would think indoor reefer, during the flush process, because I literally laughed when I saw Nub's fucking Charlie Brown plant. That was so funny. I've grown
dirt farming. He was dirt farming with them LEDs. They all do that. They put the LED on top of it. The plant don't go anywhere because it's too much light. They don't get that.
But what's funny is I've noticed with outdoor versus indoor, the flush. Outdoor flushes, you use hoses, the same thing, but it seems that the indoors keep if you are using nutrient line, they seem to keep it more versus an outdoor flush. You can flush it better outdoor grow, I feel, versus indoor grow.
It's common sense, right? If you have living dirt with a biome and you have all the rays of the sun, it's really about the drying and curing process where the weed gets fucked. Because these guys who grow outdoor, they have so much, they just stack the shit and they don't dry it and cure it properly. If you grow it properly and dry it and cure it, you have to presume there's got to be more terpenes and oils in it. There has to be more, a robust product or quality.
If it's milky white, it's going to be more energetic, rushy. If it's
but it doesn't matter, bro. I've gotten reefer enough from dispensaries to know it just doesn't. There's a quality to good outdoor reefer where it hits a different way. This light green reefer that they grow indoors, it's limited terpene profile, and the the experience is not the same. It's not as much of a full and robust experience as it could be. And I consider that
very
to be because of the
very discouraging. This was 2 years ago. I did a video and it was on Timeless. I don't know if you've heard of Timeless, the vapes, all that, the carts and all that. They're using nanotechnology now, and they're quoting it under sleep aid. And if they're using nanotechnology in the oils, you motherfuckers best believe that in the fertilizers and just anything else, these motherfuckers, like that's a good point. And that's why I do encourage growing your own for anyone out there. But
well, that's everything, man. At this point, if you ain't growing your own or trying to, there's something wrong with you. If you have the ability, and it doesn't take much, because you know that they have, again, no scruples. They're going to spray anything and everything on your food and plants. And then they're going to claim it's for XYZ. And who knows what's going to do to you? No one knows. And they don't seem to care. So, again, the best product is with little to no interference, minimal nutrients, a living soil, and the different frequencies, if you will, of light from the sun, which is going to build a more fuller terpene profile. That's why these clowns all went to LED, because they want a full ray of lights of different spectrums, right? Give me a break. There's places you could grow year round. California, you could grow 12 months out of the year. What do you need a fucking LED light for?
I'm not even a big believer, and I've seen some of the best LEDs in the world for growing. I'm not a believer in the tech. I get the technology, but I'm not a believer in it as far as when it comes to a grow. I've seen motherfuckers just use their fluorescence.
This person doesn't know what they're talking about. Stop saying shit. I would bet anything you don't grow hydro, and you've never finished consistently crops doing hydro. Hydro's a big pain in the ass. You get problems with the water and slime. You almost need an automated system. You need a whole bunch of equipment for that. Why the fuck would you go grow a plant in water when you could grow it in dirt? It makes no sense. You're going to go out of your way to grow a plant the opposite of the way it's meant to be grown, and you don't even realize that hydro weed, again, does not have a full terpene profile. Why? Because it's not eating up the dirt and converting it into the proper minerals and nutrients. You're adding synthetic minerals and nutrients to a water-based system. That is not how you grow a plant to its proper flourishing.
And the only reason the only difference I know between hydro is honestly the growth rate, like the speed.
Who the fuck ever gets hydro weed and says this weed's preferable to anything else? You need 10 times more equipment and power, and you got to be on this shit. You put a seed in the dirt. You fucking make sure it's living soil. You introduce some worms and a few other elements, and you let it be, and you let nature do its magic. You don't have any big-brained ideas that are going to grow a better plant than God and its system. Get over yourself.
Also,
you're going to wind up with a whole bunch of mold and bugs and problems and slime, and you're never going to finish a crop consistently. Most people who do hydro don't finish crops consistently. They don't get the proper yield, and the weed sucks.
Yep, and it's like them trying to vamp up their car fucking system and shit more than being a grower. Like, look at the hydro buckets, look at my setup. I've seen some really cool
look at me. I have an on-off automated system that injects synthetic minerals at 5 o'clock and runs the water. Look at me, I'm doing something. And I go, this is the weed you got from all this? It sucks. It's not even as good as weed I could grow out in the middle of nowhere and just not even give it anything. Just take whatever the fuck, even just the basics, comes out better than that shit that they grow. And then you smoke the shit. It doesn't burn right. It's full of fucking chemicals. All right, let's move on to breaking slave news. We got a lull in the action here. We got Grim Hustle too. Let's get to Grim Hustle. Why not? 7 mafia rules for legit business building. How appropriate. We're now at a point where you'd prefer to go back to the 70s and 80s and do business with the mafia than take a loan from a bank with their interest rate. You get a lower VIG from the mafia, lower percentage, and they might do some honorable business if you just stick to the fucking terms. We're now at that point. You'd rather go deal with the underworld and the mafia of old than, and this is why it came about, right? Let's not kid ourselves. The reason why the mafia came about and was proliferating is because they offered products and services, and they did a pretty good job compared to your government, at least, right? like the mafia would tell you, there's no waste in our organization. Everything is efficient, right? This guy Louis is going to handle all these things. We're not going to have to hire 10,000 people to not do anything and report that they did something. So you wonder why this shit happens? These things are created because of systems that are so incompetent and incapable and wasteful. Every $3 they get, they waste $2 and then spend $1 on doing a half-ass job. And that's why Trump and the rest of them were building buildings using the mafia, because they were more efficient, right? Lower cost on products, lower cost on interest for loans. And they actually do what the fuck they say they're going to do, because their word means everything. If they don't have that, they don't have nothing.
Of course, I have advice for business and career, Druk. Number 1, do not look at your competition so much. Why? It is more likely to die of suicide than of murder. You get it? Number 2,
if that ain't the
you
truth,
need at least 7 years to become big. Only build business or career for what you want to work every fucking day for 7 years, in good time and in shit times. Number 3, only work for products that people want and that you want. If you don't really want it, you will give up when the rain comes in your face. Number 4, focus on one goal only and track this goal with one number that you update every week. This number can be hours that you study, revenue made, numbers of meetings. People lie, but number does not lie. Number 5, watch out for fast talkers with big confidence. They seem smart and quick and will pressure you. My experience, most of them are full of shit. Number 6, you have to envision in your mind your success. Forget that American shit. You have to envision in your mind the bad times. Success will never come without bad times. And if you have envisioned, you have prepared. And finally, number 7, your willpower, your vision, your product is nothing without a good team. Take a good care of them. They are everything, not you. Be honorable.
So Rachel's down there. She says that a mother plant alive for 20 years. She takes cuttings and has a harvest turnaround approximately 3 to 4 months. Trying to think. I mean, that isn't that much quicker. Am I missing something? That isn't much quicker than if you did the same process with dirt indoors if you had to, no? I mean,
that is impressive, though. 2 decades, that's impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, potentially you keep a plant alive forever, but
yeah,
if you got a 20-year-old plant, it's got decent sized cuttings, 30 days vegging, and then another 60 days flower. You're not saving any time. You're not saving on anything. And there's no benefit to doing that. If you could pull it off, great. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I mean, salute to you. Where's my slow state salute? I need it.
Salute.
Yeah, salute.
Salute.
Right. I'm saluting you. If you can grow hydro and get it done consistently, well, you're a badass bitch, Rachel Slurs. But most people can't get it done. They can't get indoor done effectively at all, let alone hydro. You know how hard it is to finish regularly with hydro and LED lights and the rest of it indoor. I mean, I'm not calling cap. I don't use that phrase. I'm not saying she's bullshitting, because women grow better than men. That's the reality of it. They tend to know what to do and be more intuitive, and they don't add more than necessary. So they do what they're told, what they're shown.
God gave them bushes from the start.
Listen, it's an ego thing, man. Men are always going to have a bit more ego in certain ways. We're just more. You know, more is better people.
You see the new surveillance cameras out. I put it in your backstage. New surveillance cameras for everyone.
Right.
Get a couple of them.
Yeah, there you go. Make a YouTube channel or show us what you got going on when it's legal here. All right. Well, I don't want to get you in any trouble, in quotes.
Come up on panel, Rachel Slurs.
Look her over. She looks kind of sexy, but she's got that masculine corp.
She looks like a Laguna.
Can you please relax? I'm trying to hit on her a little bit. You're fucking talking over me.
Trying to hit on her too, though. I never do that.
Relax. You never make anything better. We have the video of you and Brian O'Shea chasing away two fat women who were drunk and desperate.
That doesn't make it better for you?
You're talking over me again. No, it doesn't make it better for me. I'm explaining. You're talking over me because you don't want me to explain the day we saw you and you tried to brag. You tried to brag about the video. That was the worst part. You go, oh, me and O'Shea were talking to two bitches. And I go, two bitches? Like, what's that? Like, these are women. And I get what you're saying. They were goofy bitches. But who? Oh, yeah, they were. But like the way you said it and then the way we went to it, just none of it added up. Right? And you're like, oh, these two. And then I'm like, okay, well, these are two goofy bitches. And who's even worse? Because you two walked up to them and they ran for the hills. Right?
Oh, that one woman. What O'Shea did, though. I keep telling you guys, you missed it in the end.
You keep blaming him, but the woman specifically ran from you first. And then when she ran from you
on the street corner by the bar filming.
Bro, I watched it. He ran from you, and then the other one who looked like me with a wig on ran from him because that's what women do. They move together, unlike men.
She kind of looked like you.
Oh, I'm just telling you, when you got two women together and one of them runs, the other one's gonna go, all right, I guess we're running. Tried to rape her or something. You guys are creepy. I'm out of here.
What I'm telling you what happened, though, is I stayed on the street corner filming. Ryan ran over there.
Hold on, Snafu. Hold on. Who's this?
Who the fuck is Ryan? Snaps, why don't you do everyone a favor? And I know, I'm just fucking. Why don't you reload your browser so there's a picture or something there, dude?
All right, hold on. I got to thank Snafu. Not Snafu. He doesn't give me anything except fucking heartache and anxiety. Appreciate you, sir, and all you do always. Jimmy Shively. Salute with the hands. Praying hands. He's in prayer. He's in deep meditation. Thank you, Mr. Shively, for your contribution. I won't have to be homeless or hungry this week. Beat a gorilla near you. All right, hold on a second. Someone keeps calling me. Hello, who's this?
Rachel Slur thinks her marriage is going to stop you from wanting to fuck her.
Okay, Alex, I'm going to have to call you back, man. All right. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, well, I'm just going to tell you now, we're not going to need that, bro. I don't want to waste your time. All right, I appreciate you. Bye-bye. All right. Penal Power, do you have anything that you would like me to address with you or you'd like to speak with me about? Can you use me for anything, get any value from me, or not the time?
Well, speaking of Mr. Shively, sir, I don't know if you ever emailed me back, but I still wanted to send that to you, sir. So I'm hoping, I have faith that you're in better health and whatnot, but I still want to send that to you. It's the least I could do. So I never saw your email. If you did send it to me,
what are you sending him now?
I'd like to send you some too. Just some plants and herbs, all legal. Not medical advice, of course. Pineal powder. Yeah. Moringa, ginkgo, ginseng, ashwagandha, medicinal mushrooms, everything in one
You didn't
little.
get it from Pathetic. You're not working with Pathetic Warrior, are you? He's growing something in his basement, they tell me. Some kind of micro.
He wants you to put some shit up your holes. Whichever.
Yeah, they're suppository. They're suppository capsules, so you just put them right up there. I'm joking, but you could if you really wanted to.
Dude, don't lie, Peniel. You got fucking capsules ready for his ass in the fridge. Peniel powder.
Yeah, so why are you not like embodying this brand, man? Like, why are you not out and about, climbing mountains and shit with the powder? Like, hey, I just climbed a fucking mountain. You know how I did it? Penal powder.
Now you're talking about Shilajit, which I need to get some Shilajit too, because Shilajit, whatever, because I'd love to add that in there.
Credit.
Nicholas sent me some of that. I still have it. I use it regularly. I use all that shit, man.
Yeah, you take it, what, like every so often, like one every so
Might
often.
have caused me to fuck up my kidneys because I was taking like 12 fucking plants and herbs at once every day, and then I started having more pain. I'm like, aren't things supposed to get better when you take this shit? But you know me, I'm an extremist, so you're probably not supposed to take 10 powerful plants and herbs all at once every day.
Well,
It's
see what I
probably-
do. I microdose them
Holy
all.
shit.
I microdose them all. So instead of taking one of each, right, every day, I empty it.
Yeah, well,
you know,
that's because you have a micro penis. That's the suggested
Right.
dosing.
Right.
Right. Fucking pedo
Probably the
power, man.
herbs
What do
to
I
help
do with
that
this guy?
too.
Good to see you,
Poison
sir.
ivy, poison oak.
That's
Things
what
like
I
that,
gotta
just
do. I
rub it on your
gotta Snafu,
micropenis.
please. Are you just naming plants? Like, can you stop? Can you just calm down? You're way too talkative right now. What else is new, right? What's up, Emmanuel? What do you got?
No, I just want to know how bees pollinate weed plants.
You want me to send the article? And I got friends who've done it. So you separate the fucking bees and you give them only plants that they could land to pollinate on, period. And some will die off, some will end
Hold
up
on a
pollinating.
second. I gotta stop you. They're out here pushing fake shit legit now. That's the thing. How do you know if it's fake, man? I got this shit that looks like black goo. It smells like street tar too. And I go, this, I don't know. They say it's
Why
plant
you playing with
matter.
black goo? Shit, are you like
You
playing
better,
with it? Like
yeah, you better
playing?
hope it's not black goo. You better hope it's not. You
Yeah,
know,
they
Because
sent me
then
some of
then
that.
I'd be questioning why Hank's your
Snafu,
mom.
please, I'm gonna throw you the fuck out of here. You're loud. It doesn't matter how low I put your volume. You're loud. You're talking incessantly. I can't get a word in edgewise. Please. So
He's not
yeah,
wrong.
this stuff's what?
he's not wrong. I think that's Justin down there.
Never wrong. I've never once been wrong in 3 years. Have you ever really seen me ever be called on anything or be wrong or
I'm saying
Exposed
him, Daddy
or-
Gem Cobbler, which I think is a gorilla. Well, yeah, I don't want to give it away.
he says that's the good stuff. It smells like street tar. Like 1 for 1, it smells like fucking when they paved the street. So I
Shit is
don't
hard
know
to
how.
get. First of all, that shit is rare, and where
Yeah.
you get it is hard to get it. So like it's very risky to get it. So now there's shilajit all on the market now. You're telling me that all of that shilajit that's on the market is real shilajit? Now
This is like $200, bro, and it looks like fucking black tar heroin. You know, it looks like it's real.
Some of the fake stuff is actually shellac mixed with some other crap.
I don't know what is that.
Shellac is like bug poop.
SHELLAC, right? You talking about? Shellac. Damn. Good lord. Good lord.
Yeah, you can't do too much of that shilajit stuff. That's small doses.
That's what I mean. Like when you're talking about some of the stuff, how can one even go about testing? You know what I mean? Is there even a test for that kind of shit? You know?
First of all, how did humans even know that you could eat that crap? We watched monkeys eat that crap, and then we figured, oh, if they're eating it and looking for it and trying to source it, then maybe we should.
Yeah, but the same thing that's in you is in the monkey, man. It's intuitive. You know, you come upon something and you see that it's kind of dense and mineral rich, and you test it out. I mean, how do humans or anything find out what anything does throughout history? They have something in them, I guess, that says, hey, try some of this. Chances are whatever's in you is in whatever you're taking. So I'm sure that there's probably been people who pick up the wrong mushroom and don't live to tell about it. But again, this is where I get into the whole woo-woo, I guess you could call it, like they used to say. I just go, you know, what was in me that when I was smoking dust one day, it said, go out and eat the dirt. And then I look it up, and there's whole cultures of women when they're pregnant who eat the dirt because there's minerals in there. So however God works, it has an inclination in you that says, go do this. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it is and unfounded seemingly it is. There's a reason it's telling you to go do that. So the same thing that's in us is in the monkey, and it tells them, try some of that out. And then next thing you know, they live an extra 5 years or whatever it is because there's minerals and elements in there.
It's like the people that get lost at sea. They instead of eating the fish that they catch, after a while, they start craving like the parts that you normally don't eat, like the eyes, the brains, because I guess they become deficient in certain things while they're out there lost at sea that the eyes, the brains, and other parts of that fish's body can provide. So,
bro, if they eat their own fucking offspring, like what makes you trip out that they're eating fish and shit? They eat their own babies. Monkeys are fucking crazy ass animals.
well, I'm just talking about a human being that could be lost at sea generally, you know, where the options of food are slim to none. You know, you start craving for things that you normally wouldn't crave for because your body is needing it, your body's asking for it.
They say people left at sea.
There's certain points where your body will tell you to go have something, and you'll find out later that you're deficient in something else. So that's proof to me indirectly of what we call God, because you have an internal guidance system that tells you to go do something with no seeming understanding of your own.
It's like, well, you put the exact perfect example of it being stranded at sea. If you're fucking thirsty as fuck, how many of them motherfuckers are going to drink that seawater? You know,
well, I was looking at the other day. You have no firsthand knowledge. You can't drink that water. They'll tell you can't, but we don't. Do you know that? Did you ever sit down and try to drink seawater and see what happens? No. So for all we know, the seas could have been fresh water at some point and had salt put there to an excessive level. Possible. I mean, I'm not going to say that I necessarily believe that, but I know it's been postulated that someone or something salted the oceans and it all used to be fresh water. I mean, there's parts of the ocean where it splits and you can see a line down the middle of it. What is that? You know?
It's a density. It's a density.
Yeah, we also have no firsthand knowledge other than what's reported. Like, I can't claim to know that you can't drink seawater. I have the secondhand knowledge that they say if you drink it, you'll go mad. But I've never tested it, and I have no idea that that's true. And it would make sense to me that whoever, whatever, would continue to tell folks things that may or may not be true. Who knows? Right? So you'll be sitting somewhere dying and saying to yourself, well, I can't drink the seawater. I got to find other water. And you may not know that you can drink it for a limited time. You know, maybe you can't drink it indefinitely, completely, but yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like that. You remember that movie Alive? Those dudes that ate the dead. Like, you know, your body, food. I mean, people were killing animals in the zoos in Venezuela, dude. Then they started on their domestic animals. You know, when the food ran short in countries like Venezuela, that's why all these like UNEF or WWE wildlife organizations started getting the animals in sanctuaries out of Venezuela because the people were killing all the domestic animals and the zoo animals because of starvation. But I mean, the body, like Paul said, I mean, you're told certain things, but truth is who's doing it. You know, and then put it on record.
Yeah, it might be a combination of things, like the salt dries you out, or you know, heightens the levels of certain ions, electrolytes, however that works. You don't know that you can't drink the seawater if you take something else. It's like the DMT plant. How do they know to take something to mix it with something else that makes it active, that if they didn't mix it with, it would be inactive? We don't know that you can't eat one coconut a day and drink seawater and it balances each other out, or however that works. I don't know any of it. This is why I say these people say shit all day, every day. They claim to know all this shit because someone told them. Well, who told them? How did they figure it out? And how do we know that that's the limit to what is possible? You have a medical system that tells you all day, every day, oh, a cancer can't possibly be cured by essential oils. Then when they go and do the studies, the essential oils ramp up to cure the cancer by 300 to 400%. Then they go to say in the study, well, the only reason the essential oil helped to kill the cancer by 300 to 400% is because we gave you Paxtel along with it. I don't know what the fuck Paxtel is, and I suspect it's a derivative of an essential oil with an additive in it, so you can patent it. So they'll even do the study, and in the study say all these essential oils heighten the killing of cancer by 300 to 400%, but there's no evidence to suggest the essential oil by itself does that. You think that I believe that? You think I would accept that for 3 seconds? You don't think that I believe that their businesses would be put out of business if they did a study tomorrow showing turmeric and lemongrass and Litsea cubiba kills cancer cells, and you don't have to take Paxtel with it. It's going to put them out of business.
And you know what's funny about
there
that
is
too?
patents on HIV, on many other things. Like that's why certain books on herbal medicine is actually banned in the United States and other countries. The big pharma. That's why it'll be interesting to see this Neuralink thing with big pharma, because Elon Musk seems to be saying that there's going to be a lot of things that will be replaced from the pharmaceutical, and so we're going to see a big war with that. But yeah, since the dawn of time, they've been hiding.
Right. We don't even explore in this shitty culture the power, the mind, and healing oneself. It's looked at as highbrow pseudoscience, right? This is how lacking in faith or lacking in understanding of connectivity and the generalized miracle of life, where the stories are legion of folks. Stop talking over me. The stories are legion of folks who, in the middle of their sickness, have a spontaneous remission with no outside elements being present that they can draw on. And the doctors write it up as, we don't know how it happened. We can't explain it, so it doesn't exist. No, it exists, and there's some truth to it. And if you combine the power of the mind and thought and daily ritual, if you want to call it that, with natural elements, it's presumed you could probably heal all the diseases that we suffer from. Now, are they going to conclude that? Are they going to accept that? Are they going to promote that? Absolutely not, because it would be completely detrimental to their whole system. We wouldn't need them anymore. If we can govern ourselves, heal ourselves, be in touch with God directly, what would we need their horrible churches, medical system, and fool system for? We wouldn't.
We were talking about things in the open, and I mean, everything you just mentioned is like kind of like the pineal gland, all this chakra shit. You hear blah blah blah. But the body, I think the fact is the healing of the body. Just like the whole flat round border, like the deceptions of knowledge is what it comes down to. The deception of oneself, of the true oneself aligned with the creator. So that is the true attack. And when it comes to medicine, we just look at the optics. I mean, they're banning books in America. They're banning, and that's for early 80s, 70s, 60s, herbal medicines.
Even before that, the Rockefellers, they paid universities to just throw shit away, throw textbooks that have been known to be, of medicinal medicines and plants. They said, throw that away. We got a new agenda now. We're going to promote the petroleum-based and go ahead.
Well, no. And it's funny, like they do subliminal messages, like the South Park thing with Magic Johnson. Hey guys, I found a way to cure HIV. And then what do they do? Get your money together, the whole subliminal messaging. But when you look at these patents, there's actually a patent on a cure for HIV and AIDS. Like, go look this stuff up. These things are being suppressed. They're out there, and they're being suppressed on purpose. Why? Money and control. Like Paul said, we wouldn't need their system. We wouldn't need if mankind took care of themselves.
The Food and Drug Administration work together to keep you sick so that you stay on the drugs. The food keeps you sick, needing the drug.
Sorry, they're just down there debating his word choice, his word usage, because he's known for making up words regularly.
Yeah, I heard.
You know what he meant. You know what he meant.
You made up one manofla, or what did you say yesterday? Man of something. I was gonna remember it, but I forgot it.
Yeah, man. I mean, this just becomes common sense. It's no longer extremist conspiracy theory. It's common sense. But I'll pull up the study right now of them saying that the essential oils kill the cancer, but only when they give you their corrupt drugs along with it. You need 15 milligrams of Paxtel, some cancer treatment.
See what they did
in order for the oils to work.
When I worked in the medical field,
I'm going to throw you out of here. I'm going to throw you out of here. I'm going to throw him out of here. You can't get it done.
What they did on Obama-owned Netflix or whatever some might say is they had this documentary, at least one, about the essential oils, or maybe it was an episode of this series, if I remember correctly, and it was all about the essential oils, and they paint it with a a negative light at first, and then they show you the positives of it, but then it ends off with the negatives, so that people watching it are left with. It's amazing how they
Yeah, the chimpanzees are like what? There's terpenes that are all the same and all these things. Like there's like 10 terpenes and they're all in weed, different strains of weed, and then they're all in these essential oils. So it's like, how much more smoke do you need before you realize the fire that's there? Oh, we don't know that the weed kills the cancer. There's no evidence of that. No, there is. There's plenty of people saying it. They're like, we had stage 4 cancer. We took the oil. It's gone. They're like, we don't know how that happened. No, we do. You're lying again. You're gaslighting.
What was it? Phoenix Cures, the first one?
Say again?
The first one was Phoenix Cures that did the study with the oils that cancer started.
Whatever. There's Rick Simpson. There's been a bunch of them. The point is they can't come out and admit, even if they knew, that all this shit works, because it overthrows their perspective and their system. That's the whole point of it, to keep everybody in a slave mind perspective, codependent on their toxified system, so they have ultimate control over your life and death and future.
No, when I worked in the medical system, the nursing and CNA and all that shit, they were telling us that because we were reading x-rays, like say someone went in there with coughing or blah, blah, and they had this meeting, and it was after a population control meeting, like basically the number one killer is cigarettes and heart disease and cancer. Population control. They didn't say population, but they were doing the seminar. But they told us, if we ever see like spots on the x-ray that we know were cancerous or blah, 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 that one would get in trouble if we told anyone, because it's up to the doctor, blah, blah. But I learned that they tell you, unless the patient specifically says, do you see cancer, they are trained to not tell anyone that they could see potential spots on it. They wait until it's a certain size, because at that point they say, oh, you got cancer, this is the route we do. Once it gets to that certain size, you're a multi-million-dollar patient, whether it's fixable. And
it doesn't matter. It was from
the 90s when I was working in the med field, and they were training us to shut our mouths. If we saw certain things on x-rays, we could get sued. It's not our job, blah, blah, and then I realized it was a form of population control. I did. Like, it really is. I never signed a fucking donor or what do you call those? Donation for organ cards, dude. I've seen people get fucking chopped up when they could have just put it on ventilators and healed.
You're telling me you're so poor you can't even afford to donate organs when you're dead?
No, I wouldn't. I would never do it.
He's like, my cousin's going to sell my liver on the black market. I'm going to get that value back. I can't donate that. I got to get my money's worth.
Dude. The medical field is one of the most dirtiest business, dude, and it's the medical.
Will you donate your corpse to Enslavia? Like, can we write up documents when you die? I get your corpse, because I might cut you open and sell those organs. Well, I'm not going to do that. That's illegal. No. Someone else might cut you open, sell the organs.
For a donation of, we're going to have to talk about this, but yes.
And then I want to mount you. I'm going to have you ceremonially mounted and taxidermied in the corner here next to my neon light whenever it gets here. And have snaps, neon light.
You got to make sure Tribe is there, because I need a fucking statue head looking bitch there. During this,
there's a good market for body parts in the Pito Pogo place optics.
Well, that's the whole Ukraine war, sir.
That's true. I'm going to get a hold of Monograph. Monograph will pay a handsome ransom. Quiet,
why do you think the whole Ukraine optics, bro? Mr. Zelensky, look at his little fucking bitch.
Would you be upset if I sold your organs to Monograph to do ritualistic, perverted behaviors with it?
Once I'm yours, if we procure the deal, yes, I really don't care.
Fair game.
But
what if Monograph wants to like tie your corpse up and fuck it, like that little pig creature that he had in that video?
I'm too old. He likes younger, childrenish looking.
That's true. That is true. You are a little bit long in the tooth for someone like him. He likes him real fresh and young. Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with that. That's sound logic. I can't argue with that.
I'd be more worried about the Scott 2Bs and other people out there.
Right.
But I would sell my.
Did you see that piece of shit clown that got exposed from over there, who's claiming he's a fucking warrior and wouldn't come on without a mask? He's gonna do hits for Monograph.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I've seen a lot on the whole thing, and that's why I said that's why Flo and
them. I mean, they were doubling down yesterday on the fraud being fake, on Monograph's video being just no. But see, these people are involved in more than just the satanic, demonic, unauthentic bullshit that is tied to it as well.
Yeah, he had some convict meth head who wore a mask who he thinks everybody's scared of, who was finally unmasked and was shaken and you know, you could tell was shook because he's getting more attention now, right? They all get on here and talk all that big shit. They're going to do hits on people's houses, getting on their mask, trying to hide your identity. Then you get found out. Then you come on apologizing or say, I'll do what I have to do, but this, and this. Yeah, right.
And let's just say there's reasons why he got found out. Hashtag crew.
Yeah, because again, the same way, see, that's the difference. This is how I know criminals and scum. I never said it wasn't in me. I just have it directed and checked to do the right thing in life because it feels better to me. But if you don't think that I don't think for 3 seconds, it's possible that Monograph does get people hit up when he gets annoyed enough and gives this fucking meth head convict scum 5 to 10,000 or wherever he gets his money from to go do it. Very well possible. You better not do it with me. And I don't think you can get it done.
I'm just going to put it out there, whether you guys believe me or not. He was questioning the death of John Benet Ramsey. And allegedly, I'll say it for Paul, but for me, it did happen.
I don't know nothing about that. I'm not getting into that. I'm talking about what I saw, what I know.
Yeah, there's been other people in the past that have been doxxed that have been put in complete danger, even disappeared, per se. And Monograph is into that ritualistic, messianic, children fucking fruit
listen.
bullshit.
Presuming, I'm not saying he was, but in the simulation, presuming he was involved in that, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't take any fucking courage or any kind of acumen or application to go do something to a 10-year-old girl, whatever it was. He's on here talking to grown men who have everything that he has and more. So it's one thing to go kidnap a little girl. That's what a coward scum like them would do. Go play with children because they can't play back.
This is where the thing is with discernment, dude. All these people watch that video. Everyone's like, oh, no. But then you get the Flows, the Cynthias, the one who claim Christianity, and they defend these people. And the only reason they're defending them is because they either hate Snafu Snaps or they hate Paul or they just want to be dickheads. You know, like
yeah, but this was the whole other situation. This was the whole other situation. This guy had a secondary account. He was on there in a mask. He was saying he was going to shoot up people's houses. And Monoslave was trying to indirectly insinuate that he had the pull to get that guy to go do shit and not do shit. So whatever, drop 10, 20,000, have that meth head freak show up and see if he can hit what he's aiming at. I don't think he can get it done.
No, you know what? It's all documented. And like I said, he knows. That's why he's been tricked. That's why he even showed up at host dates. None of you motherfuckers, and you're right, none of you motherfuckers would ever known him, but now you know him as exactly what I keep saying him as. If you want to fucking push that shit up, fuck you. But what's funny is even Paul, me and Paul, like, you know, we've gone on it, but this motherfucker tried checking Paul. I've tried checking Paul. Obviously, you saw what happened. I fucking was like, okay, Dad.
How are you going to check me when your supposed shooter's a fucking crackhead meth head who can't even look straight and stand straight?
Different. Yeah, like
I'm not worried about that.
Shit. Yeah. No, we were just trying to get a read because the digital
these guys
experience.
Forget. These guys forget
what you really stood for. You know, that's the truth, Paul. Like we were like, what the fuck? Because these predators, these fucktards, digital CEO fucks are real online. I know I fucking yell pedo poke all the time, but it's real shit. And we were really like,
listen, bro, I know what goes on in the world, man. I've been around, and people are people. If you think that there aren't 10, 20 people for every county at least or neighborhood who regularly take money to do things to people, I know what goes on. I've seen it.
Right.
You know, I don't get into certain things because I don't know what it could get into. So I talk very vaguely. Snafu, you're pissing me the fuck off, Snafu. You're pissing me the fuck off. How many times, bro? You say something, I let you talk, then I go to talk and you want to cut me off. What is that? What's the point of that? You want to just run the broadcast? I'll let you just run it, bro. You want me to go in the back? You do the last hour? What do you want to do? I don't get it with you. I know you're excited. I know you're riled up. You know, this is like your wheelhouse, Monty Slave. You can't wait to talk about him. Go ahead, Snafu. I was probably being rude, interrupting you while you were
right. You're right. And I will get ahead of and maybe we'll talk in future. I'll make videos.
You could play them at
It's
the end.
better off because I'm starting to get into territory that I shouldn't even get into because it doesn't matter. And it just, there's nothing to come of it, and it can only be an issue for me.
Look, the only thing I got to say, and we could drop it, is you guys witnessed the separate attacks on Paul, who was completely not even involved other than we were trying to say, where does this motherfucker stand? You guys seen it? You guys witnessed it? You've seen Paul's reaction? You've seen my reaction? You guys seen where this motherfucker, and he has a history. And if you dig deep, these fucking creeps, these predators, these ritualistic demonic forces are real. And that's
Bro, you don't understand. I'm so in the mode of like spiritual warrior at this point. I just told you earlier, there's a part of me that I stay away from that part because it scares me how readily I am, available to the idea of, like, in my mind, I go, I can't see any place where I regret, if that's what they want to do, going ahead and trying to do something to me, because it would only give me an opportunity to test out who and what I am and what I could do, right? In certain situations. So I almost take it like a challenge. Like, you're like that? You're really involved in that type of shit? I saw your people. Well, I guess go ahead and do it. Like, that shit's only scary to people who believe it or think that somebody's capable and competent. And if you think you're capable and competent, what would you be scared for? like I said, I saw his guy over there. He's like one of those. Like, every neighborhood that's like involved in certain behavior, there's crackhead junkie lowlives who try to get shit done for whatever they get paid, and they usually fuck it up.
He likes to use truckers, Paul. And that's obviously logistically. No, well, I know it. He ain't nothing. He ain't nothing. Like, I mean, we got his number, but I'm just saying.
The point is, to do the kind of behavior he was talking about, he'd have to go to like ex-military people, and most of them people are not going to do nothing to me when they realize who or what I am and what I'm about. Not even for money, right? No, and even if it's just a certain type of person, he's only going to be able to go to low life, desperate people to do certain things with certain people. Right? Because somebody who's any kind of honorable, even for the money, is not going to take action on somebody who is honorable and a representation of an idea they live for. Right? He doesn't have it like that. They've been telling me, you better watch out about Monograph. He gets people dealt with. I go, he doesn't have it like that. He may have a loose network of people who he can call on for certain things, provided there's a certain situation going on. He doesn't have it like that. You guys are like, you think because someone has 100,000 subscribers, they got it like that. I'm not worried about him. Right? If he was going to do something, he'd have done it already. When I told him to his face, he wasn't going to do shit. Right? So, it's all just, they're trying to build a character online. They're not really involved with people who do shit like that. Because if they were, they wouldn't even get into it. They go, listen, Paul, I'm going to ask you to just stop doing this and doing that. Okay. No, I'm not going to do it. Fuck you. Okay, I'll see you later. And then a week later, I have to come on here going, man, I shouldn't have fucked with Monograph. I don't know what happened, but I probably shouldn't have fucked with him because something went on, right? I don't have it like that. I know people who have it like that, or used to. I don't anymore because I don't deal with anybody. I used to know people who have it like that, and they don't look like that, and they don't live like that. And the people who they say are going to do the work for them don't look like that guy that he presented. Right. So you got to get better at telling stories online. Right. You got to make them more believable for like someone who's not the average public crowd.
Remember, he is the number one anon. No, you know what? Whatever. He don't have it like that. He knows what time it is. #Truthio. And I witnessed what happened with you. As we witnessed the past and what we've witnessed exposing some of these people, whether you believe me or not. And I got to say, part of us witnessing how you addressed a lot of shit was a testament to who you are, at least for me and many others that I name out crew. And there is a wheat and tear. There is a good and evil. There is a fucking line drawn, blah, blah. And if you can't see these optics and you got the people like pushing some of this shit up, like, it's unbelievable, because it's not even the fact of the pedo shit, but just the fact that, the dog, like when Flow State had fucking, who was it? It was Simple Jack, and Simple Jack was kind of questioning, and Simple Jack got doxed right in there on Host State's thing. That's one of their own people. and they kind of just avoid it. But the fact is the optics are optics, and it speaks.
What
to
always
who you
amazes
are.
me, like Truth or Cop and all these guys, they go, "Oh my God, guys, we shouldn't be doxing." Like, why are you worried about doxing? Who cares? You dox
That's
me,
what
great.
Zeke said,
Now you
too.
got to do something. You got to do something or have it done. Who's gonna go do something for you or have it done?
Well, and they don't even know what true doxing is. Like Z, he thought putting a fucking public article with a picture of him at graduation was doxing him. I'm like, Z, I didn't put your address out. I
Bro,
didn't put your
these are
phone number
guys
out.
who
I didn't
live
put
on the
anything like
internet.
that.
They've never been in a situation where they had to be outside all day, every day and have no options and have consistent issues and then just go, well, if it's my time to die today, then that's what's going to happen. They have no idea what it's like to live like that. Don't dox me. Like in the real world, you walk around. Motherfuckers know you. If they got problems with you, they can get at you. That's life. So, like, why do you want to create a world where you can just come on here and say and do whatever the fuck you want and then not be known or have nobody be able to reach out and touch you? You want special rules? For what reason? Well, we know why. Because you want to say and do shit that's not true or not real, and then you don't want to have to stand on it. Well, that's not how life works. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's no such thing as doxing because you could tell anybody where anybody is, then you got to come do something or have somebody get it done. And if some rabid fan nut wants to come do something too, there's nothing stopping them from doing that either.
What was
So that's life.
That big ass YouTuber chick, Wolf Sniper or some shit? She got arrested for doxing her little fucking YouTube beef. Like she went to the house and went live, and they're big ass YouTubers like that Wolf Sniper bitch, but she got hit for doxing recently.
Yeah, like you walk around the neighborhood and there's gang members. They pull a gun on you and go, "Stop doxing me." Like, this is life. This is the real world. You say shit, you live shit, you do shit. There's consequences or not, and then you gotta have faith. You got to be responsible, best as you know how.
Okay, well, this was Z. For Z to say I doxed him, and he didn't really know what doxing, but that's like with these people when I say, hey, we're going to find your public records, even arrest records, and maybe talk about it, bring it into the light. But maybe it's a dick move. But
They're asking what doxing is. I may not even understand what it is because it's just not my world. I don't do internet speak and special rules online. My understanding of doxing is real quick, help me out. My understanding of doxing is putting out someone's name and their address.
Yes, to get swatted or for worse.
Whatever. You act like, bro, you act like the feds and whoever else don't know. This is for people like you. Not you, but for them. This is people like, don't dox me, bro. Someone's they already know everything. Who else News Network pulled up the federal paperwork on me and paid for it? Turns out they've been watching everything I'm doing. I just live that way. You don't think I presume that? You don't think I live in a way where I presume I'm being watched at all times by certain people? That's the world you live in.
If you're on the internet, you're already doxing yourself.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's why when these people are like, "Oh, how dare you put?" I've seen people say that I'm going to call the cops for saying I was going to. But
this is the greatest part about it. When you're your own hero, you don't give a fuck because you ain't doing wrong. I go, let the feds watch me. I ain't doing nothing wrong. I ain't doing no crime. I ain't harming nobody. The worst thing that's going to happen is the feds are going to wind up protecting me indirectly from some scum who tries to get at me because that's their duty. So let them watch. Let them follow. I don't do nothing. You're wasting money, and you're going to wind up obligated to protect me if something ever happens. Because last time they arrested me, they came in the room. I told you, and they told me, we're Homeland Security. We've been watching you. We watch your YouTube. What are you doing? Where are you going? What's with all this? I just told them. The truth don't change. Like Jay-Z said the other day, when I get nervous, I tell the truth. You want to get me in here and make me nervous? I'm just going to tell you. I would have told you anyway. This is who and what I am. This is what I do. This is what I have, and this is why. And go write up whatever remixes you want. I'm a man. I'll have as much fucking weed as I want, as much guns as I want, whatever the fuck else. Long as I ain't doing crimes with it, long as it's for my usage, you can't say and do shit. And if you do, you're overthrowing the law of this land, the common law and universal law. So do whatever you please. I'll be a pawn in your fucking game. You got to live with it at the end of the day. I'm on borrowed time anyway. These are motherfuckers who've never have looked at death in the face over and over again. I've had to look death in the face over and over again. I live my life at this point like I'm on borrowed time. I could die at any moment. I could be put in prison any moment. I'm going to do what the fuck is true and right for me, and I'm surrendering the rest. You got a problem with me? Let's address it.
Understandable.
And they never really know what to say to that. They go, we kind of agree with you. I had DHS tell me, we kind of agree with everything you do on your YouTube, everything you say, and what you stand for. It's kind of concerning. I go, okay, well, be concerned. You know, why should it concern you that I'm able to be who and what I am and do what I do and not cause myself or anyone else a problem? If anything, you should be envious of me. I go, you got 10 guns in this room. How many bodies are on them guns? How many bodies are in this are in this institution right now? How many people have you killed and harmed? How many people's rights have you fucking taken? So I should be sitting you down in cuffs and interviewing you about all your corruption and crimes you've done. Why are you acting like I'm out here doing that?
It's only the people that seem to be up to no good that are worried about being doxxed.
Right, or people that are cowards, or people that are cowards and aren't willing to die and stand on what the fuck they say and live on. If you're saying something, it means you mean it and you know it to be true. If you say something, you know it to be true, you should be willing to die on that if that's what it takes.
Servant.
So doxing doesn't work for someone who ain't doing wrong and isn't afraid to die ultimately because they know we're all going to die at some point and you don't have control over that. I don't have control over who does what to me. I only have control over the response.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was going to say, you just from a read, maybe I'm wrong, you've never really done time or locked up, have you? Which is not bad.
I've done a couple overnighters. I haven't done jail time,
okay.
But I've done prison.
So you know that there's a difference of real recognizes real, like just understanding, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these dudes that fucking get cupcakey and freak out, blah, blah, like Paul said, you got to know.
Dude, stop eating. You've eaten like 14 sentences already this broadcast.
Okay, let me finish.
You gotta stop that, bro, because I don't eat before I come on here. I tell you, you're eating all the sentences in my face and I could leave here and go eat. You're making me think of
leaving by what I say when I scream pedo pogo and I call these motherfuckers out knowing I could be killed. Motherfuckers stand by what they say with their mission of life, whether it's exposing criminals or staying true to the one, to God. You know.
Yeah, but let's get into the other side of this, man, because there's two sides to this, and we can put me. We could real quick. We can put me on the hot seat right after. You got medical issues. You've come to us from a hospital bed a few times. I don't really ask any questions because I don't really want to go there.
You're right.
Okay, so my point is you have to be aware there's probably a part of you that's looking for these people to come kill you, to take you up out of here so you don't have to live the rest of whatever your sentence is in this realm. And you can't act from that space. And I'll say the same thing about myself.
I'd probably prefer to die other ways. But what you said could be understandable, but I think I feel more of like, yeah, that I don't give a fuck attitude. Absolutely. I don't want to be killed by these people. No, even though they want to kill me.
Which, if you're again,
rip Isaac Cappy, rip Heather Bourdain, and rip many people fucking hell. Like, because this is real. Like, people laugh, but if Snaps ever disappears, motherfuckers, I didn't just die. Maybe health issues, but if no one tells you that this is what really happened, why don't you
Snap, why don't you like turn up, like instead of coming up here talking about da and that, like pop up one day capturing one of these motherfuckers and be like, yeah, Snaps coming in.
Do you not understand what protection is? Like, do you not understand CEOs with Twitter, Facebook? Do you not understand like people committed IRS shit that they're protected by probably projects bigger than you and I? Like combat veterans are trying to tell you this shit. Ex-veterans are saying, hey, we fucking worked for fucking Infiltrate Within more than ever. Okay, all like people, this rise of people. I'm trying to tell you, these criminals, these predators, these fucked up people are protected in so many ways that even if you don't even call that shit out, just the truth itself.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe they're ultimately protected. I think that they've come to believe they're protected, and people like you believe that because you're not accepting the higher order of this. These people aren't protected. If anything, they're sanctioned for a time to do what the fuck they're meant to do, and they're going to be burned and they're going to suffer for what they've done. You can't escape the karmic law of how this works. If you could, then everyone would just have been doing evil and they would have got away with it and just keep doing it. Every single one of us who's done evil at some point in life realized if you got away with it, you got lucky because everybody gets their comeuppance. So you better live in repentance. because that shit's hanging over your head. If you think that this thing won't bring down something from your past and all of a sudden you trip and fall and it's something right there now you got to look at and deal with, it does that all the time. So there was a dude just the other day got caught. He raped some girl and said, nobody's going to believe you. 10 years later, she went and told him he's in prison now. Right? So you can go ahead, do some evil for a time, think you're going to get away with it. You might get away with it. And then something's going to catch up with you and you're going to be sitting there going, I can't imagine how this all came together. That thing knows. We don't know how it works, but that thing knows. Right? And it's going to get one cop who's just, for some reason, he's going to tell a story. I was sitting there one day and just got this overwhelming urge to look into this guy and stumbled upon exactly what I needed to close a cold case that everyone else overlooked. You think that's not God somehow working? It is. These stories are numerous. The cop can't even tell you why the fuck he did what he did. He just went and looked and wouldn't stop looking and then got exactly what the fuck he needed to put that person away for some evil shit they thought that they were going to get away with. It doesn't work that way.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's what keeps people going and trying to do that. But it's more complex than that, servant of servants. But trust me, I'm in the foxhole and I'm not going to stop. Fuck these pedo pogo cupcakes. But the reason you see them get fraidy cat, as I call it, like Z, is they've never been in a big boy. You can tell they've never been in a big boy ring in real life or even in a digital experience life. And they're learning. And many people are going to learn what being in a big boy. And it's not even that. You got to get along to get along. You have, I even the people that think, oh, I hate them. No, but there is a wheat and tear. There is a good and evil, and there is lines.
Yeah, there's choice here of what to do and be and who to associate with or yoke yourself with. But everything else is beyond our choice. That's like I tell you all the time. That's these people's choice. That's their walk. That's their judgment. They're going to learn just the same way I did. I was an atheist, bro. My family's not religious. We do the Catholic bullshit because it's familial tradition, right? But nobody ever went to church. Nobody was ever into God. Nobody ever spoke about faith and trust and equity or any of this shit. This wasn't me, but this is me, right? You get what I'm saying? So if I realized that wasn't me and that wasn't them, but this was us and this is me, it's them too, right? They just won't recognize it. They either can't or won't recognize it, and they damn sure ain't going to live into it because they think there's false power and strength that they're living into, just like I did. They think that they have one up on everybody and the system and life, and they're going to get shown at some point. They're going to have a series of events that are going to happen. They're going to go, there's no other way to conceptualize this other than the other, whatever that is, God, the spirit, the karma, however you want to put it. And then they're going to go, you know what? I need to stop all my fucking games because I thought I was slick and clever and smart, and this thing is way ahead of me. When you stop trying to game the system of the universe, it gives you everything you need and pulls away all of the things, it seems, that you need to allow you to learn from a suffering perspective. Right? But you want to game the universe and everybody in it, that thing's going to show you at some point. It's way ahead of you. Right? And that's exactly the way it needs to be. Right? It makes sense. There has to be some inherent guideline and order here and some force that pulls everybody back to center. If not, people would just get the idea they could do whatever the fuck they want to do at all times and it would be profitable and beneficial. And it's not. So, that's the whole point of having conscience, to sync you up with that thing to keep you out of trouble. Ultimately, you don't use your conscience. You don't sync up with that thing. You think you can do your own will. That will is going to come in to show you what's really up. And then you're going to learn, just like we all do.
So, what do you think would be wrong if someone were to say, go to, food stores, grocery stores, whatever, maybe even big name stores, and what they see as a possible service, right, of cleaning up expired food items that are just going to get tossed in the trash, therefore saving employees the time and effort of doing such. And taking that food for themselves to enjoy, maybe even sharing it with their community, maybe even bringing some to food banks or what do you call it? Soup kitchens, charity, give people on the street. What would be, where would the wrong, how would they find the wrong there?
The wrong in establishments feeding people?
No, rather someone going to food establishments, groceries rather. Trespassing, theft.
Stop fucking talking over everyone for the 1,000th time.
it would be technically, I guess in this case, you know, if you're not getting permission from the store. This is something I've thought of, you know, before. Like where would the fault, where would the wrong lie?
Again, this is not common sense to you. This is why you shouldn't take food unless you absolutely need it, because you shouldn't need it. Most people are not in a position where they need to take all that shit from them people. They don't. I was one of them, going to Denver food bank because, hey, I want to get food that's sitting around is going to get wasted and I'm going to get it for free. For what? To teach yourself that someone else is going to feed you? That's foolishness. You should be figuring out a way to create value and create that food and do it over and over again. So you don't need that. There's no point in it being taken advantage of that who doesn't really need it. You're setting yourself up for failure. That same person could go in the forest or wherever and plant a little fucking garden and a secret garden and go sit there, meditate and eat whatever the fuck comes out of there. That's beneficial for them and everyone else. Not taking some toxified shit they packaged up and pushing it around to everyone else. That just teaches everybody they don't have to do and be better. Let's be real about it. You think most people are going to get that shit really need it? No, they're perfectly able-bodied. They have enough sense and they have enough resources to start something and to maintain it. They just don't want to. So why should they be entitled to eat? I say sit there and fucking starve until you get off your ass and figure out a way to create a meal for yourself. That's what we all need. You think you think that I would have sat there saying that to myself at one point? No. I had the same bullshit excuses and justifications as everybody else. Now I know better because it would have just tricked me out of power and position. I realized it. I'm just creating a habit for myself that's going to cause me to fail at some point because now I have a source of food that allows me to not have to get it somewhere else and do and be better. So I'm really not into charity as much as I'm supposed to be to keep up some image of being for the people. The best way to be for the people is to teach the people to be for themselves, not to give them shit, not to do for them. That's enabling, that's entitlement, that's codependency. The same thing I'll tell Slave Cotton and all his buddies. I ain't giving you shit because you just got 60,000 a year ago and you fucking squandered it. You're such a stupid, simple motherfucker, or you're practicing and you're real good at it already, that you couldn't take 60K and turn it into 120. You got no fucking sense. You got no get up and go. You got no hustle. You got no care and you got no network and you ain't trying to get any of that. So why the fuck should you get to something that I got to having those things when you ain't trying to get those things? Get out of my face. I'll be your best friend when it comes to figuring out how to create that for yourself. I'll be your worst enemy when you ask me for a motherfucking thing based off what I've done or created or put the time in for. Absolutely not. Because it ain't going to work for you and it ain't going to work for me. Because if I give you once, I got to give you again. If it keeps happening, I build up resentments. And you think that this is just how it's supposed to be. No. There's been nothing stopping Slave Cot from doing his own Talcott Fest 2.0, 3.0, 8.0. He hasn't done it. He doesn't wish to do it. He's too good to come here and create the imagery of service. He's too good for that. He should just show up every day, tell you what's on his mind for the day, and have an existence. He's not interested in entertaining, informing, or serving the people. That's why he doesn't get shit. The same way I won't give him shit, God won't give him shit. What does it tell you?
Well,
you stupid infidel motherfuckers don't even understand the will of God and why some shit happens and other shit doesn't. There's a reason. You're not doing what the fuck you're supposed to do with the proper intention. You're not pure-hearted.
You know, what puzzles me about it all is, why do we seek association of these people instead of seeking association of people that are purpose-driven, that are motivated, that we see the change in their life? Like, why do we huddle around somebody who's huddled around their fireplace, speaking projection? It's like, it's nonsensical, really.
But that's the thing. There is no we. I don't seek any of it. That shit was brought into my existence, and I've let it remain in my existence. I haven't been overly seeking. A couple times I've dropped emails to a couple people. I haven't even done that in the past year. I'm not seeking the counsel or the co-creation with successful people.
I'm aware of that.
They do, I do what I do. I have people called into my reality who remain there one way or the other, whether I focus on them or not. So I conclude that that must mean that we're supposed to do some work together, whatever the fuck that looks like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm aware with that. And that's one thing that I noticed that, it's like, okay, if we're not going to entertain Jack Talcott, at least be entertained by him and see,
Right.
this is the example not to be, so.
Oh, yeah, dude, Jack Talcott has become like, it's my main hobby at this point. Like, I could go off in the mountains at this point and never do a broadcast again. And I tell you, I walk around the house and I regularly go into Talcott mode, fucking with Jennifer. I go, Jennifer, you're imagining disagreements and everything that's bad in life is about you. She goes, what? I go, everything that's bad in life is you. She goes, what did I do? I go, just everything bad is you. And she gets pretty quickly what I'm doing because I'll do the voice. But it's like, I'm not regretful about it. Dude, I have a comedic fucking beingness, right? Like, I recognize regularly the joke in everyone and everything, including myself. So, you need a really good sense of humor to get by in life, it would seem to me. And to think that God doesn't have an amazing sense of humor, I think, just look around. Right? So, yeah, I mean, I could love Jack Talcott and all the characters, and I could regularly refer to him, and I could even do bits as them in life just to have fun with it. And then we get back to who and what these people are, what they do regularly, their results, and then what they claim. And it's absurdity. It's borderline, if not completely criminal, right? To come on here and just say shit continually and have it all be lies and dishonor and just lacking in principles and value and all meant to like get value from people. It's borderline criminal. Like Mitch does. It's frauding and grifting. There's no other way to look at it. So like 1,000 years ago, they'd have cut off these people's ears and cut out their tongue. The townspeople would have got together, cut this guy's ears off and cut out his tongue because they go, he's a fucking lying, grifting charlatan. And he thinks we're going to buy his bullshit and give him shit. Not only are we not giving him shit, we're going to throw him the fuck out of town. We're going to send him to an island to think for a couple years and maybe bring him back if he can get his shit together. That's how people would have handled it. So do I handle it that way? No, because I think there's a better way to handle it that works for me and everyone else. You love these people from a distance. You have fun with their character and presentment. You wish them the best. And you try to have the best sense of humor to cope with the fact that they're probably going to wind up in horrible circumstances and never get it. They still think at 65 that they're smart enough to bullshit a whole audience and a guy who's way smarter than them and can discern. They'll come to me and go, I've never seen anyone discern and read like you, and proceed to bullshit me. I go, oh, you haven't learned. You just don't get it. I go, you need like exile. You need like your ears and tongue cut out and cut off. And then maybe you'll get it.
I think what's funny is we witnessed from where we started to where we're at now. He's had an opportunity to make money. He's had an opportunity to capitalize on the situation given to him by the people. And I mean, I mean, like you just said, he comes on, turns the camera on, does a bunch of bullshit, guru.
Bro, that's the thing. I never tell anyone to really sell products because I don't, and I have thought about it and I'd like to, but I don't because I don't know. I just have a bad taste around commerce, and I have a bad taste around this metaverse and how you catch a rap for every little thing you do. So I'm almost gun shy to even do certain things where it might be valuable and people even ask me for it. Nubs the other day goes, put the oil out, bro. My son wants oil that smells good and is natural. So, the point I'm getting to is Slave Cot could have came on here, and if you're going to use the audience, go all the way. He could have put a bobblehead out. They'd have bought it from him. This pathetic motherfucker that they see as a charity case, they'd have bought the fucking bobblehead just to have a goofy memento around the house.
What about the
content? Can't even do that. He can't even get off his ass and fucking create a damn product or a service for 1,000 fucking people who show up every day crying about nobody's helped me.
I was thinking more the content, like working with you, like he always claims.
Whatever. It could be all the things, man. I told him it could be all the things. He ain't going to do nothing till that house is gone. Then he's going to get off his ass and get hungry and inspired. Bet on it. Unless he's a complete agent. There's two options. He ain't going to learn till that house gets taken, or this has been a ruse the whole time. And there's some organization or some force out there that keeps allowing this house to be retained so he can delude and dupe and deceive a whole bunch of lost, broken souls.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah, when he doesn't get kicked out, it's gonna be, oh, praise the Lord. See, the Lord's on my side. I didn't get
You
kicked
know the
out.
game. You know the game. Shaitan,
on,
God somehow works through Shaitan to test everybody's discernment, and it's a great humorous game. God knows what it's doing. It will use the Shaitan to test everybody's discernment and go, gotta be God that did it. And it's like, yeah, you're half right. God working through the deceiver, because it works through all things. Right? You can't say I'm Lucifer, I'm going to overthrow God when God is the creator of Lucifer. It doesn't work that way. It's like son can't overthrow father because that's the creator. You come through that being. You can't overthrow that chain of title. Right? You know, at best you can compete or equalize. I don't think you can get it done from an egoic perspective. And that's the story, right? So, yeah, man, he has a myriad of things he could do that he won't do until it gets time for him to absolutely do them. How do I know? Because I know me and how I was versus how I am now. And like you said, if it is some other force or some other group, he will come on that day and proclaim, God did it. This is why you should follow me, because what is this, machine lies down there? This guy's struggling to get in and out of that sweater. Wait till I bring this video up of this kid. He couldn't even get in and out of a sweater. He was sitting there fighting with it on panel.
Hey, Mitch actually called that. Mitch was calling that little fucking Muslim abusing piece of shit TML out. Proud of you, Mitch. I saw you call their fuckery out.
That's your boy, man. That's your newest fixation.
TML's a scumbag.
I'm telling you right now, I've already called it out a year ago. I suspect that's the kid down there knows it, Emmanuel. I already expect what's coming. He's going to come on that day. Praise the Lord. The house is secure for another year, because the story he's telling don't add up. 5 years, no payment, multiple foreclosures. He somehow keeps getting through. It's got to be God's work. Right. Hey. He's going to come on. He's going to say it. He's going to convince everybody he's got to be the second coming, because how else could you keep a house without paying for it, right? It's like Wizard's Rap. Like, it's got to be God, because somehow I keep living without paying. I go, you guys should start living without fees. Fuck, live without fear. You obviously all don't have enough faith in yourself to get out and do and create something and be something. Earn your fucking keep.
And now he's in multiple churches, and he's multiple churches. So he's a member of multiple churches.
Yeah, fucking break with the church bullshit too. You fucking dumb slaves still haven't figured out God is within you and around you. You don't got to go to church to find it. Whoever's at church is a fucking dupe. They're deluded. They're a slave. Get a clue.
And most of them,
you should have seen the way I would toss these guys in a generalized debate using objective logic with spirituality as the language, like spiritual language. I would toss these guys from one side of the room to the other with their nonsense. I go, I'm a God-fearing person. I'm a righteous, God-fearing man as much as I can muster. Everyone falls short of that. Your logic and dogma makes no sense. You're a fraud, like Mitchell likes to say to everybody. Give a fuck who you bring into it. Jesus, Muhammad, this, that. You can't even explain who and what you are and what you believe in. You expect me to listen to it? There's no continuity in any of these beliefs and in any of this dogma. They can't explain it to make it make sense to a child or anyone else who isn't in the cult. So it probably isn't true. Right? And then they always at some point go, well, you can't question my faith and I'm just going to believe blindly and you can believe whatever you want. Well, thank you for permission for that. I can believe what I want, or no, you can choose to believe and not explain your belief. So you're not accountable to yourself, to the truth, or that force. Because if you were, it would upset you every day that you can't explain your bullshit belief that you claim to live on. Your faith should be the one thing that should be able to be questioned constantly. If it can't be by a human being, it must not be sound. Because there's many times in life where you got to lean on that faith and you might be questioning yourself and everything around you. So if you can't explain it and you can't show it and there's no synchronicity and results there, I think you're bullshitting. I think you want to be your own God and name it something, make a name, make an archetype, and then claim that it works like you do. It doesn't. Doesn't fucking live like you and work like you, and it doesn't create the way you do and get the results you do. And that's obvious.
You know, out of personal experience, now that you mentioned that, I realize, you know, I used to question my own faith and my own, you know, and people would question it too. And I realized that once I was sure of my faith, nobody came around to question it anymore.
Right. The questioners show up when you're lacking in faith. When, like you just said, when the faith is strong, the tests and challenges and questioning are over. The rest of it's what you can do with it. How are you going to move it? You know, what are you going to do with the results and the value that come from that? You know, how are you going to share it with others? But yeah, man, that's the truest way you know somebody right off the bat that they don't have shit is when you take their temperature and they're shaky and off balance. You come across a real motherfucker who's living their information, there's nothing you can't throw something at them that they ain't going to give you something back. That's the testimony of somebody who's strong in their faith. There's nothing you can ask them or throw at them they don't have an answer for or an understanding of. If you don't have that, you don't have nothing. You're just lying to yourself and everyone else. You just want to be part of a cult and a community. And that's all Jack Talcott's looking for ultimately. He's not looking for a godly religious experience. He's not looking for spiritual faith. He's looking for a family he never had. He's looking for community that he didn't have. He's looking for a family that he chased away with his infidel behavior and his impure heart and results. It's not a fucking mystery. The same way they all sit on here. Whose panel are we going to go to? We just did 8 hours of nothingness. Where's the next one? And they all just stumble over like fucking bar crawlers. They don't know where else to go, what else to do, and who to do it with. They're just like the scum at the bars. They just hang around and they roll from one shitty establishment to the next. Just lost souls. Right? Consuming spirits. That's all they are. Lost souls, bar crawling from one panel to the next, taking in all this bullshit information, energy, and corrupt spirit. You wonder why they're all drunk with each other, with themselves and each other, drunk on false power. Drunk on codependency, drunk on dopamine hits from the YouTube fetamines, like your boy down there says.
The digital experience, hashtag Mitch, fucking go after them fraudulent fucks.
Oh yeah, they knew how to give a whole device that would put a whole multiple generations of broken, soulless people into bondage. What do you think a device is?
Right.
A vice, right? They know how to put all these scum of all ages in with each other with their infidel ways, loser failure behavior, all seeking each other, finding each other, and then not co-creating in truth with each other. Just milling around, wasting their time, energy, attention in their life, and decaying day by day, right? It's obvious. You look at some of these people, they're fucking going down the drain. They look half dead already. Their conversation is dead. Their eyes are dead. Their future is dead. Their relationship is dead. Get a clue. You're in the land of the living dead. And the motherfuckers who got a brain and can see and speak are always the first ones to be attacked by these horde of living dead zombies looking for brains to eat. They tell you the game every time. Mm-hmm. What do the hordes do on every panel once they get aware of me? Oh, look, what with brains they're going to go eat. They get together in their group and start shuffling over to you to eat your brains.
It's so real.
If you're looking for the floor at every step, then you're not walking in faith, really, right? They're all looking for the floor at every step. It's just, you can see it. I can see it. I don't know if others can see it, but I can see it.
Yeah, for sure. It all seems to be a distraction thousands of years in the making to keep people from recognizing, basically what Paul is, most effectively that I've seen able to assert with these, authoritarians or whatever you want to call them, these perceived authority.
That's the thing, is that you have a culture where it all mirrors each other. Everybody perceives himself as an authority. Oh, I'm a skeptic. I know. I can think for myself. You can't. And I'll give you a list of reasons and evidence, and it's conclusive. So, you got the majority of folks running around with their ego conceptualizations of how they're an authority on something, as if they've even mastered themselves. Like you got to be a master of self on some level. You have to practice self-mastery before you can be an authority or an administrator. It's just kind of what it is. Like these folks want a cart before the horse. That's why this has been the same game from the beginning of time. Philosophers have always undone the system with a couple sentences because they've done the self-work in the cave. They have the self-knowledge. They have everything that everyone out there doesn't have. So they run around in circles. They do their games. It always winds up worse for everybody. And then the philosopher has to let them in on the secret that you don't know yourselves. You're playing a whole bunch of games and you're doing it all for profit, and it's going nowhere except your own detriment because you weren't here for that. You didn't come to this realm to buy and sell shit and only do that, right? It's this and that. You got to have a product and service, but you got to be a godly, righteous man, and you got to have self-knowledge first and foremost, or else that'll be misdirected, right? And that's what we have, a purely profit-motivated society and culture who, as long as they can get paid and have their shit, everything's good, everything's fine. Well, that's obviously been shown not to be the case. There's other stuff we have to do here. All this stuff pretty much they don't want to do, right? But yeah, I mean, we're in school basically. If you really want to get into it, whatever this realm is, you just look at it like that. We're apparently spirits in some kind of a soul in some kind of a teaching realm. Excuse me, some kind of a collective simulation class. It would seem. Yeah, that's why I call it a student of life.
That's the Vedic philosophy. That's called Aham Brahma. I'm not this body. So, that's just thousands of years old. They've known this science. We're not these bodies. It's just we get caught up in the illusion of this world. We don't master the senses. The senses master us. We think we're in control of our world when the world is in control of us because we can't even master our senses. And we're trying to perceive some kind of perfection in the world through imperfect senses. And it's just, you need to have a good foundation of spiritual knowledge to be able to proceed in a material life. If not, you're just gonna, like I always say, walk yourself into a hell. And that's what I believe this is. This is a hell. This is a simulation for those who thought that they were the enjoyer. The only enjoyer is the Supreme, the creator who made it all. We're just getting little bits and pieces of experience in my field of view, but
the enjoyment I think comes from when you recognize that you're in something and part of something. How can you not be somewhat enlightened by that fact, right? You can be in any situation and remind yourself, I'm in something and part of something, and it shows itself regularly. And if you're living that life, how could you not be enlightened? You go, I don't even have to worry because there's something else going on here, right? It allows you to ease up. That's what that faith is, right? Once the thing starts talking to you and working with you and synchronizing with you, it allows you to pump the brakes at times and go, I don't have to be worried because the thing is taking care of me way before I even knew it was there. Yep.
And that's how I go, even the littlest or, there's all kinds of jobs. There's good paying jobs and there's street sweeping jobs. And, whoever is able to provide me a job at that point in time, whether it is a job or not, I look at it like I'm working for the Supreme because the Supreme gave that person the job to give me. So, when you look at it in that light, your whole world spiritualizes, it changes. You're not thinking like, oh, this guy, he's not paying me what I'm worth and this and that. No, you're working for the boss, the head honcho, the boss of the bosses, the supreme controller, the enjoyer, and we are the enjoyed.
Right. And then that state of consciousness you take on because of what you see, think you see, right, beyond the illusion, then remanifests those results. So now it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you're talking about the same thing I discovered at the warehouse doing that every day, was that I'm waking up every day to fulfill some purpose beyond what it looks like. And the way that's done is in my character and conduct and the way I perform service and the way that I influence and affect other people. Once you take on that perspective, now you are going to get paid what you're worth because you weren't worth shit before. That's what they don't get. They're not paying me what I'm worth. What are you worth exactly, infidel slave? You're a detriment and a liability to every organization you're a part of. Go ask your family and friends. If they're being real, they'll tell you. When you're in that mode, they'll tell you if you ask them if they're honorable, right? Maybe they're not telling you. I'll tell you, and you'll get certain signs. So that's exactly the point. Like they say, it's what you make of it. You want to show up every day with a negative attitude and get caught up in the illusion, you're going to miss the bigger picture and the bigger opportunity down the line, right? This thing's preparing you for something down the line that it can't give you because you didn't want to prepare for it within yourself and in your life with your actions and your devotion and your service. That is your service and devotion, the way you do things, right? So again, when things finally show up, it's no wonder. That's what was meant to happen. And the whole time you were bitching and complaining and missing the point, it was trying to prepare you to receive those blessings. But you were missing that opportunity because you were too caught up in what the fuck you wanted right now because you're you and you deserve it. That's broken child entitlement. Ask Jack Talcott. That's why nothing flows his way. Once he gets out of that space and gets into a space of a servant's heart and does everything in a certain way, value will start showing up. And it will be no wonder because it will be somebody who you will say the way that person does everything is somebody who is of high value. When you can say it about that person, the universe can finally say it about you, just like you can say it about you. And that's when everything comes in alignment. Don't expect to get shit that's meant for somebody when the person next to you will tell you you ain't shit if they were being real with you. What makes you think that force is going to let anything show up in your life if the people around you know you ain't shit? It does too. And it can't prepare you to be something for it and for yourself and for life until you recognize you ain't shit without it.
I couldn't have said it any better. It's tale as old as time. I do, I do a very basic. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
I do a very. I work in the service field, so I work with people. I work in the HVAC department. I get up and close with the customer, because I have to fulfill their needs. I got to keep them cool. I got to keep them warm. So, I walk into situations where I hear them talk about the previous tech. Oh, he was so this and he was so that. I do my service in a way, in that same mentality that I just, explained to you. And it always gets me a good compliment, a good review, a good tip. And the universe tells you, yo, you're doing good. The universe won't lie to you. The universe will say, if your life is crap right now, it's because the universe is telling you you're a piece of shit. Plain and simple.
Right. Like when we used to do this fat pig the other day, got played because she came up and gave the food to somebody and she goes, there's a note in there, by the way, because I saw you didn't tip.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, well, that's because I got cash in my hand. I'm going to tip you in cash. And she felt stupid and walked off. So the difference between her and me is I did DoorDash and other things, and I never had a problem because the way that I did it made it so that I go, not only do I not have a problem, I'm doing better doing this, making my own schedule, working less than I would be slaving at the warehouse. So again, what's the difference between her experience and mine? The way that we lived it, the choices we made. She didn't give a fuck. That's the difference. I had a 5-star rating, 4.8 stars out of thousands of fucking deliveries. It was unheard of because I cared, because I go the extra mile, because I make sure they get what the fuck they need. I come out of my pocket if necessary to replace something because it's my name on it. I'm bringing it to you. You don't know nothing about Starbucks. I'm here right now. So you got to live like that, right? You can't. This is what they all want to do now. Oh, it's Starbucks. Go talk to them. No, you're here. It's your credibility. It's your reputation. It's your honor. It's your values. What are you going to do to make this right? So I would know how I would feel. And I treat people how the fuck I want to be treated. So if I show up and the shit is cold or whatever else, because the guy had me fucking waiting, I'm going to go, you know what? It makes sense because this jerk off had me waiting. So I'm going to go back and get a hot one and I'll be back. And I'm going to have to foot the gas bill and whatever else. I'm not going to chase them for it, or at times I would. I get on there with DoorDash and tell them, listen, or the restaurant and tell them, you ain't doing shit right. You got to get it together. It's costing me money, But you can't give excuses to the person who ordered something and didn't get what the fuck they wanted or didn't come the right way. Oh, they didn't give you the drink. They were supposed to have a drink. All right, bro, I'm going to go get it. No, don't worry about it. No, I'm going to get it. Because you made an order, you wanted to get what the fuck you wanted, and I'm going to go get it and bring it. Because my service is not complete till you get what the fuck you wanted and what you ordered. It's not about if you're okay with it and if DoorDash is okay and the fucking guy at the Chinese restaurant is okay with it. I'm not okay with it. And that's the difference. When you live as if you're in the position of that other person, you get a different result. When you don't give a fuck and you half-ass it, and you accept less for yourself and everyone else, people know that. And they say, fuck you, we don't like you. And then if you get really good at what you do, people will search you out. They will figure out, like some of the apps, you can pick the people. There's one of the apps, I don't think it was Uber Eats or DoorDash, maybe a shopping app, because I used to fuck with all of them. They could pick the people. Guess who they're going to pick? Someone like me. Guess who they're not going to pick? Someone like the fat pig who wants to cause problems with somebody for not tipping. You know how many times I didn't get tipped? I didn't even think about it. My mind's on the next order. Didn't get tipped. Oh, well, we're going to get double on the next one. If we don't get double on the next one, it's going to come back to me by the end of the night. And sure as shit, no matter how many times it happened, I always got what the fuck was meant to come to me. Whether it was 2 free meals because somebody canceled, whatever the fuck it was, it evens out if you let it. You get in your own way, you're going to come up with less than what the fuck you were meant for. And you're going to be bitching and whining and complaining and claiming bad things always happen to me.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Shipped, probably. Shipped or that other one.
Listen, man, at a certain point, I was going to replace him. I was right on the edge of replacing him because I was dealing with some of the same people all the time. I was just going to go get a business card and start doing my own deliveries and cutting them out. I'm famous for that on the streets and everything. I'll cut the middleman right out to get that extra $1. I don't give a fuck because I'm doing all the work anyway. I'm providing all the service. DoorDash doesn't give a fuck about these people. They're going to poison them and charge them double. So I just cut them right out. I give you a better rate and I get all the fucking extras.
I used to love being downtown and yeah, the people would be catching an Uber. You know, you could tell they're about to catch an Uber. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not even working for them or anything, but how about, you know, I take you, how much is the bill? And they'd say $30. How about you throw me $20? And you know, I save you $10 and you make me 20 and I drive you home. And again,
man, part of the game is you got to be smarter than the system. This is part of everyone's problem. They sit on Uber Eats and they take every delivery. I go look at my fucking statistics. I turned down 95% of deliveries because I was working off a system. I got to be within a certain square blocks. It has to be a certain amount and it has to work out, right? So you can decline as many as you want. They don't care. Right, I'm not going across town to bring some fat pig in the ghetto McDonald's. I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to have 10 fucking issues along the way. No, I'm staying. First of all, I'm driving 45 minutes to the place where all the money is because I'm not an idiot. And I'm going to sit in the fucking place where all the money is and the big restaurants. And I'm going to get nothing but back-to-back orders of $50 or more from steakhouses and all this shit. And when people are ordering from steakhouses, they're going to be throwing you $20 per. Right? So you got to use your fucking brain and think on the fly and come up with a system within the system. Because if not, you'll get killed. You take every order they give you or even half of them, you're going to be bringing something worth $5 that's going to cost you $10 in gas to get there. And by the time you get there, you're going to get shot at, chased by a dog, and they're not going to give you shit for it and give you an attitude. You know? So it's just one of those things, man. Like I noticed that with a lot of people you work with. They never figure out the move. You go to them a year later and they're like, yeah, I'm still on Uber. I make $50 a day. I go, I'm doing $200 to $300. What's your problem? They go, how do you do that? I go, by thinking on the fly and using common fucking sense and putting yourself in the right position. The same thing like I tell Penile Power. You could cut Uber out right now. You can go do Uber for 2 weeks, see the same 10 people in the same condos in the same area, and just give them a card. Hey, bro, hit me up. I'll go get you your shit that you're getting here every day, and I'm going to take the fucking extra that they don't care. It's going to cost them the same. You give them $1 off. You make an extra $3 to $5 on every delivery. It adds up. And now you got a business for yourself. You know, Penile's fucking power rushing slave delivery service. Whatever the fuck Penile Bad or Dash, whatever the fuck. You know, it's that quick. It's that easy. Now they're giving your number. Hey, we got this young kid. He runs all over the place for us. He's beating DoorDash's rate, and he actually does good service. They're going to share you with everybody. Now you're in business. It's just like that quick. And you don't even have any overhead. It's your goofy-ass car. They don't give a fuck what car you bring it in.
And then you can start offering your own menu. Take it a step further. Start providing your own foods, you know?
Yeah, tell them that. They'll be bringing weed to everybody's house. You guys want some weed? I'm going to bring you some weed with your fucking wings. And then he'll be caught up with the feds, bringing him that yellow oil.
Some lemon haze with your lemon pepper.
Yeah.
No, I'm all about the herb over liquid stuff, man. The liquid stuff is sketchy, so I'm there with you on that. That doesn't mean I never hit the stuff, but Yeah. Oh man.
He just dropped like half a gram or whatever the fuck that was.
It fell on the bowl, so it's all good.
All right.
What are you dripping it from the cartridge into the? How
Yeah,
are
those
you?
are droppers. Those are droppers.
Yeah.
Oh, a dropper. It looked like a fucking cartridge, man.
Yeah. I used to put some of those on my veggie burgers. Put a drop on my veggie burger and eat the burger.
Sounds
Yeah, you believe it? This guy's sitting in a park right now with syringes full of yellow liquid, and then I got movers with tattooed faces showing up and leaving today because I'm smoking fentanyl in the back. I go, this is good fucking reefer. Smoking fentanyl. Don't fucking insult me.
Can't tell the difference.
If I'm getting fentanyl, I'm bagging it at this point, all right? I'm not shooting it. I'm going right back to where I left off. All right, you would walk on ice, you might as well dance. I'm gonna waste up a whole bunch of fentanyl smoking it? Nah. I'm going intravenous like the old days. Fuck it. You know? And the guy makes no sense. Like, you could sit there and smoke fentanyl. Like, I don't think you can do that. Pretty sure both times I overdosed when I used to do heroin like a decade ago was from fentanyl being in it. You know, because I'm pretty sure it started happening around that time, and nobody was ever overdosing. Then all of a sudden, people just started overdosing who were professionals. So, you know, whatever that means. When I say professional, is obviously tongue in cheek. There's nothing honorable or glorious about being sick and disturbed and trying to kill pain with street drugs.
I know I mean, I don't know what it's like personally because I've had good examples in my life to say, not for me. But my uncle he still is. He struggles, and he's in and out, you know. It's never, sometimes you think he's good, and it's really just this euphoric streak he's on, and then he falls into depression because he realizes his life is still a shit, and then back at it he goes. It's an endless cycle.
Yeah, I wake up some days and I can't even imagine. Like the other day I was sitting there and I go, I really used to like shoot heroin. And I was one of those people. Like I was the lowest form of life on every level and was just completely down and out. And now it's like I have a completely different inner space and the outer space and everything else. So yeah, it's almost like living a nightmare that you woke up from, but you can remember it and you feel like you're not really sure what happened, you know? Yeah, the more time, man, the more time that goes by, the more it just seems like a completely different person on every level. And I suspect that that's part of a good journey, right? A good journey is one where when you look back, you don't even recognize who and what you are compared to who and what you were, you know?
You don't even have to be a drug addict or an ex-drug addict, you know, to experience what you just explained, you know, because I've been through something similar in my life where, you know, you saw the paradigm shift. There was a point where you're like, holy shit, I look back and I'm like, I'm disgusted at who I was, you know. I could never, it's like you said, I could never see myself looking at the world like that again, looking at people like that again, treating people like that again. It's just, you change. It's for
it starts with self, right? I mean, it's the same thing can be said for self as other people because they're directly related. Relationship with self, relationship with other selves. I could never imagine treating my own self the way that I used to. You know, the shit that I would just randomly put into myself and not give a fuck because I didn't give a fuck if I died and I thought I was going to die anyway. So, you know, whatever, I'll do anything.
And one thing I did notice too that kind of like went with that was I claimed to be atheistic during those times of my, you know, like I believe there was I called myself atheistic erroneously. I was really more of an agnostic. I just didn't know. And because I didn't know or didn't care to know, I didn't care to know myself. And because I didn't care to know myself, a whole plethora of things came with that just kind of, it pushed me to a point where I had to just, you know, chill out and just say, I need to, you know, take a good look at myself. And you did. You have to be honest with yourself, and the truth is going to make you mad before it sets you free.
I think it's a trajectory with each being an incarnation, right? And I think it typically goes atheist, agnostic, and then some experience or spiritual faith system that presents itself. Because it's like your first inclination is, oh, there's no God, because if there was God, none of this crazy evil shit would exist. And then the agnostic is like, at some point, you have more experiences and go, there's got to be some order to this. There seems to be something going on here. So there is something there. We just don't know what it is. The more you kind of work with that, it then comes to, oh yeah, there's something there. It's like everywhere in all things. It's working all the time. You better stay with it and kind of look for where it wants you to move and not move. I mean, that's just kind of been my walk, and I see that in a lot of other people. The first question all the time is the same cliche question. If God exists, why do all these bad, evil things happen to children? It's like you're completely ignoring cause and effect. You have a body politic. You have an environment. Bad things, children come out dis-ease because their parents and everyone before them was, and their environment is. Get a clue. Why are you blaming God for what we're doing and not doing? We have a responsibility to steward ourselves and each other in this earth, and we've failed at that. So that's why you see a lot of the dis-ease and detrimental outcomes that you see, because the relationship between what's true and what's real and authentic and natural has been distorted. There's no connectivity there as it should be. So it would make sense that the results are skewed. There is equity here. There is fairness. You just have to look for it in cause and effect. They'll say life's not fair. No, it is fair. You get what you give. And there's a cumulative effect on that. So if your whole culture and society indefinitely for however long back has neglected what's natural, what's true, and what's right, well, how do you think shit's going to come out? It's what they would call a curse. Multiple generations, right? You can use religious language to describe a cause and effect, a completely scientific method observed, set of variables.
Well, that's just
you can bring it to the spiritual realm. You can bring it to the physical realm. They cross over. It's all explanation of cause and effect. You explain it one way or explain it another way.
Yeah, it's the definition of karma. Karma literally means fruitive activity or fruitive results of fruitive activity. So, in other words, cause and effect. You do something, you get a result. It's karma. And if you want to operate outside of karma, there's bhakti, there's devotion. There's kind of outside of the laws of karma when you start dealing in that realm. But anybody who's a solely fruitive, practitioner of fruitive results, well, then you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also don't want to completely. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. You go first.
I was going to say we also won't completely accept the relationship between suffering and learning. It seems to be here there's a correlation between how much one suffers and how much one learns and grows. So to presume that the creator of the simulation doesn't allow for personal choice and suffering to take place for everybody to learn, I think is foolishness. It's short-sighted. Right? So it's like the girl's not meant to get raped by God's plan, but by this guy's plan, which is sanctioned by God's free will, free choice, the girl's going to get raped. And out of that horrible event, potentially can come something even bigger, better, and greater for her and everyone involved, if they let it be, including the perpetrator. Right? We've seen that process over and over again. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to go with it. Thank you. And just to further that thought, I just don't agree with the idea that, the girl who got hard or whatever is, just suffering the karmic consequences of her, being a shitty person, versus punishing her. And that
she could have been a great person her whole life. She could have been a great person her whole life. And it just so happened that she got raped in this one. But we don't know her past life. The soul is eternal. It didn't start in this life.
You don't know she had a past life, that's not a good explanation. I don't accept that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole accepting something. I can hold an idea without accepting or denying it and kind of play with it or experience it. But I'm not going to say the being, again, was meant karmically to have that happen. Like, conceivably, sometimes bad things happen to quote unquote good people.
Thank you. That's
what we do with that can, I think, transform and transcend the experience itself. And so much so, the being can look back and go, not only am I not regretful of that event, it was a defining moment for me where I used that to become everything that I am now. Right. So it's a little bit of a deterministic thing. It's a little bit of a randomness thing, right? It's this and that.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there's an old scripture called the Prayers of Queen Kunti. And if you read all her prayers, she's pretty much begging God for suffering, because it's in those moments of suffering that she feels closest to God. Because when she was a queen, and obviously queens live opulent lives, they are very comfortable, they don't need anything, they're well taken care for. So what do they need to worry about, you know? And then she was a very wise woman, you know, so she understood, you know, I can't get too comfortable in this life. I need to,
Yeah,
you know,
her idea of
comfort
suffering is,
complacency.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, complete.
Yeah, that's just a
Completely.
mechanism though. Like the coping mechanism or the way we play with faith, like doesn't take away from what it is. It's human beings' way to access it. So the same way that they'll beat themselves and do certain self-flagellation techniques is really just a mechanism for transmuting pain and sitting in a faith space. Because you're like, well, if I can ignore this pain and stop fearing like what is natural, because like the Tao says, all men and women tremble before the thought of violence. If I can check the emotion or the fear from this physical harm and this violence, then I can learn to stay in a safe space, a faith space, everywhere else in my life, right? So, yeah, it's not necessarily like praying to God, make me suffer. It's like she's praying for that because she became aware on some level that it's only when a being is in suffering that they actually go to wholeheartedly that space of redemption and access that faith space. Without that, you seemingly you just kind of do whatever you want to do. Right? Those moments are cause for pause and reflection and reformation in each being's life. So I just think those are just like indications of different mechanisms that humans use to access that faith space, because it's not necessarily readily available for them all the time. Or it's a practice, right? Maybe it becomes more readily available the more you work it, which I think there's some truth to that. The more you put yourself in adverse situations and come out the other side, the better faith system you're going to have, because you've done it all before. You've seen it all. You've been through it. You know how this goes. The person who's been to court 1,000 times is going to have way more faith than the person who's been once. That's all life is. It's one big simulation to cultivate faith in you by putting you through the ringer, mostly through your own self-choices, right? Most of the suffering is self-chosen, whether we're aware of it or not in that moment.
Yeah, we're just given the opportunity to fuck up, and we do it quite well.
All right, give me the final word, man. I got a rest of the house to get together here and continue to move. And I don't want to do more than 3 hours, really, anyway. Metaverse is a slippery beast.
Well, with that, I'm just gonna say, hey, Paul, thanks for letting me up in your safe space again, and we'll just keep it making happen, you know.
Appreciate you, Emmanuel. This is my
safe space. Please respect it.
And I respect it 100%.
All right, man, get out of here. We'll see you later. Appreciate you. Come up regularly, man.
Yeah, I don't have any clever thoughts, but yeah, thanks for having me up. Catch you on the next one. Oh, sorry, I missed you earlier. I was spacing out, but
Yeah, I figured that. I don't take it personal, man. I was just dropping in to, touch base with you and bullshit a little bit. But
I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you later, Mitchell.
All right, later, man.
All right, Mitch. Emmanuel, pleasure. Yeah, like Emmanuel said, appreciate you allowing us in your metaversal dojo of sorts. And yeah, appreciate what you do here day to day, man. 500 plus days apparently and counting. So maybe you will go for the 1,000. I think that's pretty amazing, man. That being said, appreciate you. Peace, prosperity, and pineal power, as I always say. And see you on the next one. Be well.
Thank you, Sean.
All right.
See you later. Like the man said, you got to go 7 years straight every fucking day, the Russian mob boss said. So I don't know. I don't get into what I can and can't do. I just continue to do and be. And we'll check in with self as time goes on, right? Try to read the body and what it needs and continue to fulfill the responsibility, obligation, or just the opportunity, right? This doesn't necessarily have to be seen by myself and oftentimes isn't. seen as an obligation or responsibility. I make it that when necessary to keep myself on it, but it's really more of an opportunity and a blessing. There would have been a time when I've been over the moon to be able to have this opportunity. So I keep that close to heart, right? Don't forget where you come from. And therefore, you'll always know where you're headed, and you'll always pretty much be comfortable where you're at, is what I find. So, all right, folks, get the hell out of here. Another resoundingly successful broadcast. Much love, like they say in all the other broadcasts. I've stolen that. I've stolen the double much love. Mazel from out west, of course. We do a little bit of love bombing. No, we don't need that. Folks get enough of my time, energy, attention. True love and care, right? We don't have to say it. What's understood don't have to be said. When you're really living it and you're really showing it, and you're being that, and you're leading folks to have access to that for themselves in their life, it doesn't oftentimes have to be said as much, I find. I do love and care for this audience. I do appreciate the contributors and supporters. And I do look forward to tomorrow's broadcast and every other broadcast until the day that I perish in this earthly incarnation. So yeah, 1,000 days of Unslavia continues. 1,000 holy days. All right, folks, if I didn't give you the mazel from out west, I'm giving it to you now. Go be productive. Go be co-creative. Have the authentic conversation that you've been procrastinating on. Get to the next level. There's always levels, it would seem to me. Consciousness and awareness in your relationships, in your life, in your career. There's levels to everything. Triple mazel. Unslave one. Out. What can I say that hasn't already been said? The hell out of here. Out. If you could take religion and a spiritual process and make somebody activate a part of themselves that they didn't know was there, you got something there. And I think that's all of what we're doing in all ways, is trying to reunite, reactivate those parts of ourselves that we've had cut off or we've had dormant to try to survive in this sick and twisted dynamic. This spiritual practice, right? Certain things like I do here, just meeting with people daily, talking it out, doing a simulation, right? Imagining certain things. Maybe a form of meditation, you could argue. Will reform the perspective. Will reform the way we think and feel and how we act and live, if there's truth there that resonates. So that's the modality I prefer, because I think anything else is kind of a shortcut, and really it's just a tool meant for extremes that, you know, even then you still have to come back to your life and learn how to live it. It might just be that everybody should have some experience in their life that takes them out of themselves and it forces them to surrender over to something so they can learn the art of surrender in certain situations. You know, how do we learn to really live and thrive again? Cool to have structure, habit, procedure, process, certain levels of responsibility, accountability that lead to success. How are we going to love again? How are we going to live again? How are we going to thrive and co-create, have community? Right? So I see both aspects in self, and I see a lot of those same aspects in others that come forth in these spaces. But again, it's a slippery slope in a world of religious dogmatics, when the other side of that is actual nihilist, infidel, worldly scum who really want a whole population on drugs. Right? It's a slippery slope, because one side's going to call you the devil, the other side's going to say, yeah, let's do that, so they can take drugs all day, every day, and claim it to be the all. I can't, that's why I can't support it and promote it, because I know what it will turn into.